and Nicholas Smith for the balance of a wedding contract.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Kevin approaches the bench.
Case number 2030, Gordon versus Jackson Smith.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Miss Gordon, you're a wedding planner.
Yes.
You called her to plan a wedding that you were having in Las Vegas.
Yes.
Is your husband?
Yes.
The wedding was scheduled for what date?
April 30th of 22.
Your lawsuit against the defendants is for the balance of a fee that you say is due and owing to you. Ms. Jackson and Mr. Smith are counterclaiming for a whole bunch of things. They said that not only didn't they get everything that they paid for, that you selected the venue, and they were ejected from the venue because they weren't allowed to have a wedding there or serve liquor. So what was your fee that you quoted the defendants, and how much of that fee did they pay?
My fee for planning the wedding was $4,000.
And that $4,000, was that fee reduced to a contract?
Yes, it was.
I'd like to see it.
Okay.
Tara hands a document to Kevin, who brings it to Judy.
Ms. Jackson, this your first wedding?
Yes.
And yours?
Yes.
Judy reviews the document.
Okay, your total fee was $4,000 and a deposit of $2,000. Did they give you a deposit?
Yes.
Okay, so they signed an agreement to pay you $4,000. How much did they pay you in total?
In total, for our planning fee, they paid
No, in total, how much did they pay your company?
$2,000.
$2,000.
Correct. So how our company is set up is we're set up as an affordable payment plan for a wedding. So we set up our clients on a payment plan. So they also pay the expenses of all of their wedding through us.
So you have to send them an invoice for what it was that you spent for the vendors.
Correct.
Okay.
And then also the default of that contract states that if they miss payments, they have breached the contract.
That's why we're here. Each of you is accusing the other of breaching this agreement. You say that they didn't finish paying you what they owed you, and they say you didn't furnish the services to them that they signed up for the wedding. They gave you $2,000, and the wedding was supposed to be held where?
The banquet hall.
Did you send them a deposit?
No, because at that time she had not paid enough money.
Just a second. The answer is no, you had not sent them a deposit.
No.
Had they sent you the deposit of $2,000?
They sent me the deposit for our planning fee, yes.
I'm talking about for your planning fee, $2,000.
Yes.
And how much was the deposit for?
50% of $16,000, which was $8,000.
And where is the invoice for that you sent them?
I don't have that invoice because she was not able to secure the venue.
I read it. And from what I read in your complaint, the original venue that you secured, according to you, was rendered unavailable because of a broken pipe.
That was the second venue. We went through 3 venues. The first venue, she lost that venue because she could not keep up with the payments and did not submit money for a deposit. The second venue was the R&R Event Center. That venue she lost because a pipe broke in the venue.
Okay, just a second. R&R
Event Center.
And when was that taken?
That was booked on March 11th, 2022. And I do have the invoice for that.
And how much was it?
$2,250.
Okay, that's much better than $8,000. Okay. Did she put in a deposit?
Deposit was made from the monthly payments that she makes towards her wedding.
Show me invoices that you sent her every month.
Yes, I have that.
Well, I'd like to see them.
Tara hands a document to Kevin.
This is the statement of the account. It lists all the invoices that she was sent on a monthly basis.
So she paid you the $20,000 that was invoiced.
Her wedding cost a total of $23,600.
No, that's not what I said. Opening balance was $0. Invoice $20,451.57. Paid $19,356.57. That's what this says. Uncross your arms.
Correct. No, that's
okay.
That's
so
correct.
She paid for everything. Now.
No, she didn't pay for everything because, as I just stated, her wedding cost a total of $23,651.
No. Let's go back to, because I see that we're not getting anywhere. Before her wedding, before anything happened, before she said, I do, and before he says, I take you, she paid practically $20,000, which was your original estimate and her budget for the wedding. Just a second. That's either a yes or a no. Before the wedding, your original budget that you were given by the defendant, I read the papers, was $20,000.
So, and as
That's either a yes, I read the papers, or a no.
yes, that is the
Okay.
budget she stated she would like to stay around. But however, in planning a wedding, you cannot give an exact of how it's
I
going to
didn't
cost.
say that. I didn't,
So after
Madam, pay careful attention to me. I've made 16 weddings. I've had 16 event planners. I know exactly how it works, and I know exactly that you can't always predict to the $100 or $50 or sometimes $500 how much more the wedding is going to cost. It never costs less. That's not what I said to you. I said by the time the wedding took place, she had paid the vast majority of the original amount that she said she wanted to spend for the wedding. And that is accurate. She said she wanted to spend $20,000. She gave you over $19,000. Did that include your fee?
No, it didn't.
Just a second. So the answer is no. That's what she wanted to spend exclusive of your fee.
Correct.
Now, of your fee, she gave you an initial deposit, or they did, of $2,000.
So
That's
yes.
either a yes or a
Yes.
no. She gave you
Yes.
$2,000. Did she ever pay you the other $2,000
No.
for the fee? And the rest of the expenses that you want are the additional expenses over and above the $20,000 that you, stop shaking your head, over and above what she originally said she wanted to spend.
Correct.
Now, I'm going to get to what happened just about a week before the wedding.
Okay.
You had booked a place. She had paid for the place, $2,250.
Yes.
And that was at R&R. According to you, something happened at R&R. Stop shaking your head. It's annoying. Something happened at R&R. What happened at R&R and when?
Correct. The wedding was scheduled to happen on April 30th.
Tell me what happened at R&R.
I was informed by Rico, the owner, sitting on that side, that a pipe had busted and the venue would no longer be available for usage on her wedding date.
And on what date was that?
It was around the week before her wedding, or 2 weeks before her wedding, sorry.
Date.
I don't have the exact date.
Rico rises.
You own, manage, or what, this R&R?
I'm the owner of R&R Event Center.
Okay, tell me your last name, sir.
Cox, C-O-X.
Do you remember having a conversation with the plaintiff about the venue?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you remember when it was?
March 25th of 2022.
Can you tell me what you said to her and what she said to you?
We had a conversation. I'm like, hey, problem with my venue. I had a pipe that busted. I won't be able to host their wedding. Well, the reception, I should say. So I informed her I can put her in contact with other venues that I may know, or I could send her back the deposit. She asked for the deposit back. I sent the deposit back probably within the hour.
How much was the deposit? $2,250?
No, ma'am.
How much was it?
$1,125, which was half.
So 50%?
Yes, ma'am.
So you sent her back the deposit?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you receive the deposit, Ms. Gordon?
Yes, I did.
The wedding wasn't until April 30th. So you had plenty of time. Well, not plenty of time. You had time to look for a new venue, or else they were
Which
going to
I
have to
did.
change the date.
Correct, and they found
Just
it.
shh. What venue, you can sit down, Mr. Cox, thank you very much. What venue did you select? And had you ever used them before?
No, I had not. I never worked with a challenge budget like this for a venue.
If you don't like the budget, don't take the gig.
Yeah, I won't.
And that's where the reception was held. But that venue was not allowed to have this kind of party.
I was not aware of that until the day of the wedding.
That's your problem. That's not their problem. They hired you as an event planner.
They did, and
just
they got
checking.
a wedding. The wedding went the entire time. The wedding was not closed until after the wedding had already ended. So they used the venue regardless.
Okay. Miss Gordon, it's your job as the event planner, which is what I don't understand you being here. It's your job as the event planner. They don't live in Las Vegas. That's your job to ensure that the place that you select is a venue that's capable of performing the duties that you outlined in your contract, which means they serve food, they're allowed to serve liquor, they're allowed to dance, they're allowed to host an event of how many people?
It was supposed to be 120, but all of my guests didn't get their invitation. So
Okay, so over 100
Actually,
people.
Your Honor, it wasn't that they were not allowed to have the wedding there. They were allowed to have the wedding there. What they were not allowed to do was the business was not allowed to operate after a certain time, and that is what the business owner produced to us.
Just a second. You want to show me a contract that she
I don't
signed
have-
with that
yes.
business owner? Miss Gordon?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, I would like to see the contract that you signed with this business owner.
Tara produces a document, then hands it to Kevin. He brings it to Judy, who reviews it.
Sarah, just for my own information, would you look up this venue, please? Tell me what you find.
Sure.
Judy hands a document to Sarah.
Ms. Gordon, this space was a little less money than the previous space that you had selected.
Correct.
$500, $700?
Yes, and that's because they were not providing all of the things that the original event place was providing.
Was this event space that you booked at the end of the evening, I don't want to use the word raided, closed by the police? That's either a yes. Did the police arrive at this venue?
Yes, they did.
Okay. And what time did the police arrive at the venue?
They arrived at 9:30.
Is there a police report that anyone has?
No.
And how many parties have you done where police arrived at the end of an evening or during the course of an evening in the 2 years that you've been in Las Vegas?
Never.
And the police arrived at this wedding not because anybody was creating a disturbance, there weren't shots fired.
Well, no, that is why.
Beatrice's eyes widen. Caption coming up.
You may say so, I don't know anything about the venue, but that's your job. You're supposed to know about the venue.
When I told her in the first place that she needed to postpone her wedding, that was my professional
You mean that's
advice.
No, that's not what she hired you for, to tell you to postpone her wedding.
Whitney smirks. A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Tara, Beatrice, and Nicholas.
Wedding planner Tara Gordon claims her former clients, Beatrice Jackson and Nicholas Smith, owe for the balance of their wedding. Beatrice and Nicholas are countersuing for breach of contract.
Okay, police arrived at this wedding not because anybody was creating a disturbance, there weren't shots fired.
Well, no, that is why. They initially had a report because
Well, I don't know that. If you can show it to me,
I don't have the
I'd be
police
more than
report.
happy to look at it. The police showed up.
May I bring my witness up, please?
For what reason?
Because she can attest to the altercation that took place prior, which is why we were even brought up on the radar, because the other businesses in the vicinity of where the business takes place had complained. There was a lot of altercation back and forth outside of the event because she refused to sign the agreed upon payment plan to continue payments after the wedding.
You understand that I'm not particularly sympathetic.
I'm not
I'm letting you know I'm not particularly sympathetic for the following reason. Somebody plans a wedding and has a budget of $20,000 plus your fee, so that's, say, $25,000 that they either put together or are saving up for a wedding, first for each. A week before the wedding, something happens with the venue, where the wedding could not be held at the venue of their choice. They're relying on an out-of-state wedding planner, that's you, to find a legitimate venue that is licensed to have an event. When they get to Las Vegas on the date of the wedding, you present them with a new contract.
No, that is not true. That
Well,
is
when
where
did you
have it incorrect.
just a second. When did you give them? Because you said that the problem, which caused the police to
text
come.
messages, too.
Just a second. I don't understand.
Before I selected the very last venue, she was on FaceTime with me, looking at the venue with me, because I informed her I've never worked with this venue. I don't know anything about the venue. I told her that the best thing for her is to postpone her wedding. She was already behind in payments. This is her third venue.
Just a second. She paid you almost the entire $20,000.
She paid it in March. In March.
Doesn't matter. She paid you almost the entire
30 days before her wedding. That's
the
what
whole
you're not
thing.
hearing.
I'm not looking at you. Before her wedding, she paid you almost the entire amount of the $20,000 that she originally gave you as a budget before the wedding.
If you look at the contract, it says that you're going to make monthly payments so that we can adequately plan your wedding. You booked me back in 2021, almost a year before your wedding. The wedding was to be planned over the course of that year. The initial venue that I have worked with, that I know is reputable, she ended up not paying the deposit on time, so they had to move forward with another date. After that, I didn't get any payments from her until March, when she got her tax return. And then at that time, I was forced with less than 60 days to try to find another venue, in which I did, which was our event space. And then a pipe busted in that event space. And then I was forced to find another venue for her. I told her back in January, the top of the year, you need to postpone your wedding. Before invitations went out, before of all of that, when she was having troubles with her payment plan, I advised her as a professional, I think you should postpone your wedding date.
You may talk a lot, but the bottom line is you're the expert. Uncross your arms. You're the
Well, if
expert.
I'm the expert,
You're trying to talk over me? You're trying to talk over me?
No, I'm not.
Good. So you're the expert. She's out of town. The reason that she selects a wedding planner in Las Vegas is because you're supposed to know whether or not the venue that you recommend is able to take care of the party you book. You may say to her, I don't uncross. You may say to her, I don't know anything about the venue, but that's your job. You're supposed to know about the venue.
When I told her in the first place that she needed to postpone her wedding, that was my professional
You mean that's
advice.
No, that's not what she hired you for, to tell you to postpone her wedding. She hired you to plan her wedding, not to give her advice
Yes,
whether or
and she
not.
also
You're
agreed to me-
trying to talk over me. That doesn't happen. That doesn't happen. You have to understand there are certain things that you did. You
Okay.
got out the invitations. That's a great thing. I assume you got a DJ. That's great. All of those things. The wedding itself, to me, was problematic. If my wedding ended with the police coming to the venue, and it turned out that the venue was one where you weren't allowed to have that kind of an event, I would be annoyed at the wedding.
They were allowed
Just
to
as-
have a wedding.
No, they weren't. The police officer.
The contract clearly states that.
I don't care what it
That's not what the
states.
police officer said.
And you know because you have a police
I don't
report,
care what
you
it
spoke to them? No,
I don't
you were
care what it
escorted out.
states. You started to tell me before that the reason the police came there is because there was an altercation about you giving her another contract on that date, and there were words outside, and people were complaining, other people who were in the
That's
air.
not what I said.
What did you say?
The night before her wedding, I explained to her. said,
I want to know what's happened on the date of
"That's
the
what
wedding.
I'm about to
Just
tell
a
you.
second.
Can you let me finish so I can
No,
articulate
I
what
want you to go because I have a limited amount of time and I'm getting very old. I thought what you said to me, and you're going to read this back, is that the reason the police were drawn to the venue is because of the arguments outside.
Correct.
Let's read that
That's
back.
what I just
said. That was on the date of the wedding.
Correct.
You got married, and you're happy, and you had
Of
people at
course,
the
but she
wedding,
got a free wedding.
and you
$20,000 ain't
you're almost done. Do you understand? You're almost finished. Go ahead.
Whitney reads the transcript.
We were brought up on the radar because the other businesses in the vicinity where the event took place had complained. There was a lot of altercation back and forth outside of the event because she didn't agree to sign the payment plan.
Okay. So the reason that you said, let's go back, that the police came to the venue and then shut it down because it wasn't allowed to be used for what it was used for was because there were altercations about this second contract.
No, that's not the contract we were having an altercation about. That's what I'm trying to
Oh, just a
explain to
second.
you.
On the day of the wedding, Miss Gordon, did you present her with a new contract to sign? That's either a yes or a
Yes,
no.
I did, but not for the venue. That's what
I don't, it's not for the venue. I didn't say it was
Okay,
for the venue.
yes.
On the day of her wedding, did you present her with a new contract? The answer is yes.
Yes.
You said you had discussed that with her the night before?
Correct.
And uncross.
Oh, sorry.
And the night before, did she agree to sign?
Yes, she
Just a
did.
second. A new contract?
Yes, she did.
Okay. And the new contract provided for what?
The new contract that she was supposed to sign
Provided for what?
provided for the remainder balance of the $23,681 that her wedding actually cost. Because she had only paid $19,000, you have the sheet, so I don't have the
have it,
exact number. but
19,356.57.
Correct. So since she had only paid that amount and the total expenses for her wedding were $23,681, so
Okay,
the
and
night
so what-
before she
so
agreed
what-
to make a payment plan with me to extend her payments beyond her wedding date to pay off this remaining balance.
And is that what she agreed to on the phone? Is that what you're saying to me?
Correct.
She agreed with
She
you
agreed
on.
if we-
Shh. She agreed on the phone to pay you the additional $3,500 or $4,000, and she agreed to pay it over time.
Correct.
And that was Friday night.
Correct.
And then she got to the wedding.
Correct.
And at what point did you present her with the new contract? At what point in the event?
Upon her arrival to the reception venue.
Now, what happened when you got to the reception venue? You'd already gotten through the ceremony, so you're already married. What time did you get to reception?
So the reception was supposed to start at 5. It was supposed to start at 5, but when we got there, she wasn't even done decorating. All of my family stayed outside for another hour, including my grandmother, my grandpa. We waited in cars. Okay.
I said it was supposed to start at 5.
At 5.
This venue that I have here someplace, you have it?
I think it was supposed to start at 5:30 and end at 10:30 per the contract.
Okay, thank you. Was it supposed to start at 5:30?
Yes.
What happened at 5:30, Ms. Gordon?
I presented her with the contract, and then she refused to sign it. Her guests were waiting outside because she was refusing to sign it. When she refused to sign it, because our agreement was she was going to sign the agreement before we started the reception. When she said that she did not want to start the reception, I responded and I said, we will pack all of this up and my staff and I will leave because now we're not being paid for our services.
What time did the police arrive?
Tara rolls her eyes. Caption coming up.
I'm telling you, I would be furious if I spent $20,000 for a wedding and my evening ended by the police having my guests leave. Furious.
Sarah shakes her head. A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Tara, Beatrice, and Nicholas.
Wedding planner Tara Gordon has accused her former clients, Beatrice Jackson and Nicholas Smith, of refusing to pay the remaining wedding balance. Beatrice and Nicholas claim Tara booked an illegal venue for their reception.
So, what time did the police arrive?
The police arrived at 9:30.
And did the police tell everyone to leave?
Yes, they did.
And told everyone that they had to leave?
They arrived and they told me that everyone had to leave.
Whether they told you or whether
Yes.
they told them. They
Yes.
said the place had to be clear.
Correct.
And that was an hour before the termination of the event.
So at the end, the event was...
The event was supposed to
I'll get
end
the
at
exact
10:30.
timeline.
Police arrived at 9:30. That's according to you. That's an hour short of the event time she was supposed to have at the venue.
No, the event was supposed to end at 9:30. This is her timeline of events that was supposed to take place.
This is the contract.
That's the time that I have the venue too. I have to clean up. The agreed upon timeline is here. The wedding was supposed to end at 9:30, giving me an hour to clean up.
I'll take a look at what you have. I'm just telling you that this is the signed contract.
That's signed between me and the venue because they were giving me an extra hour to clean up.
That doesn't say that in here.
Because I booked it for a timeline. I booked it from 5:30 to 10:30. I outlined everything that takes place. It ended at the last song of the night was at 9:30. And she went through the last song. We made it through the last song of the night on time.
Could I take a look at that?
Kevin brings Tara's phone to Judy.
I just can't wait till it's my turn.
Judy reviews a document on the phone.
Well, the last song of the night was supposed to start at 9:30.
Yes, and it started earlier because we made it through and she was done dancing. And by the time the police came, it was just mingling and dancing going on. So she had made it through her entire wedding reception is what I'm trying to state.
Rico rises.
Yes, Mr. Cox.
Please.
Hey, Your Honor, I'm back. That's not true. The police actually came at 9 o'clock, and
Were you there?
I was the DJ.
You were the DJ?
Yes, ma'am.
That didn't get paid.
Don't.
Oh, he got
Don't
paid. He got paid.
speak. So the police arrived at 9 o'clock.
That's correct.
And what happened when they arrived, Mr. Cox?
So
By the way, did you know them before the wedding?
No, ma'am.
Did you know her before the wedding?
Just conversation that we had via Facebook or telephone.
No, he did not know me
So no.
prior
Just,
to the
I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to him. She booked your services.
Yes, ma'am.
And how much were your services for the night?
My DJing services were $500.
Were you paid?
No, ma'am.
What happened when the police arrived?
The police came, asked everyone to leave.
Do you know anything about this venue space where the wedding took place?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me about it.
It's a storefront.
So are a lot of venues in Las Vegas.
Your case is dismissed. Do you understand? This is not a free-for-all. As far as I'm concerned, you got almost exactly what her budget called for. And I have one vendor that wasn't paid.
Because she didn't pay. It's clear.
Well, how do I know that you paid the other vendors? At least I know one vendor that you didn't pay, and she paid
It's right in
almost
front of you.
$20,000.
They got paid because, okay.
I have two things. I have one vendor that's here that wasn't paid. You were paid almost $20,000. The balance, part of it, is for your fee. Part of it is
My
for...
fee was not.
Are you saying that part of this money that you're suing for, this $4,000, was not part of your fee?
The $4,000 that I'm suing for is part of my fee.
Of course, that's what I said. So part of that money was for your fee, and part of it was for vendors. I have one vendor here who says he wasn't paid.
Well, I have receipts from other vendors if you like to see.
No, I know you had a lot of vendors, but you didn't pay him. He's the only
I didn't pay him
body.
because she didn't pay me. It's clear. She didn't pay me enough money to pay her venue. I have here proof of how much every item in her wedding cost, which exceeded the $19,000 that she paid. Clearly, she owes more money. That's the facts of the matter. She owes more money to
She's
what her wedding cost.
countersuing you for ruining her wedding because you booked it at a venue that wasn't allowed to have a wedding. She's got a counterclaim for far more than your claim. Bottom line is, she picked a wedding planner, she picked a venue, she tacitly approved this change of venue. Both of you had to at the last minute, but you did that relying on the wedding planner to find a venue that was capable to hold the event, and it wasn't. It wasn't. That's your job. Your job is to find an appropriate place so that the police don't raid a wedding a half hour before it's over. That's not the way a wedding is supposed to end. So what I want you to tell me is you're suing her for $4,300. How much of that $4,300 is your fee?
$2,000.
And you didn't pay him?
No.
So that's 24 minus 500. You didn't pay him because you have to pay him.
I pay him.
Part of
He's
it
already
was to
paid.
pay him.
I'm deducting it.
Okay.
I'm not paying you for your fee.
Okay.
You booked the wrong space for your fee. So far, I have $1,825. Other than the DJ, who else didn't you pay? I'm very clear.
Can I?
Other than the DJ, he's going to tell me, the DJ is going to tell me, other than the DJ, who else didn't you pay? Mr. Cox, could you stand up, please? You seem to want to tell me something, and since you didn't know either one of these parties, I'm going to let you tell me. Do you know any other vendor other than you who wasn't paid?
The bartender also was not paid.
Bartender.
That's correct.
Which is his wife.
That's correct.
I don't care if it was his wife or not, it was the bartender.
Right, but what I'm saying was the bar was included.
How much were you supposed to pay the bartender?
The bar and the bartender came with him. He offered to do the bar and to DJ because his pipe busted. So what I'm saying is, he said, I'll bring my bar and I'll do a cash bar, meaning
That's because a bar you can't have for $500. So
right,
we'll
but
do
he
a
was
cash
doing a
bar.
cash, correct.
Did you do a cash bar?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Okay. So you made some money off the cash bar?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, of course. Got it. Now you can sit. So what you paid him was $500 for both.
And $150 for the bar.
$650 total.
That's what he charged them outside of the wedding.
This is a very easy case for me. You were paid almost $20,000.
I wasn't paid anything. I was
Yes.
paid $2,000.
And I would feel doubly furious if on the day of my wedding, as a new bride of an hour, the event planner said to me, you can't go in unless you sign this contract, modifying our first contract.
The contract was not to modify.
Your case is
the
dismissed.
contract.
We're done.
Okay.
This court is adjourned.
So you counterclaim.
Outside the courtroom, Tara, then Beatrice and Nicholas.
There are some things that I realized that, I could have done better.
Basically, 10 days before the wedding, add additional $4,000 on top of $20,000.
That never happened.
It was just her way of just trying to come up on more money, in my opinion.
At the end of the day, she had got her wedding.
Judy and Sarah.
I'm actually sometimes surprised at professionals like this woman, who is an event planner, has a reputation. She was almost fully compensated for this event. And the wedding was, if it were my wedding, I would say, it's ruined by having a police shut it down. We had a wedding a month ago. Mm-hmm. What would you think if the police?
You would not be happy if you paid any amount of money to a professional and had that happen. I really thought it was outrageous.
The whole thing was just tacky, waiting outside the venue when she got there from the ceremony, and before she could go in, she had to sign the contract. That's really not what you do as a professional.
Bad business.
Bad business.
Title, Judy Justice.
Want justice? Go to Judy, her brother, Jordan Thompson, and his girlfriend, Carmela Turturelli, for personal belongings.
Court come to order. All rise.
Judy enters.
Be seated, please.
Kevin approaches.
Hello, Judge. Good. Case number 248, Bolio versus Thompson's Turkey Valley.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
How old are you, Miss Bilio?
I'm 31.
You have 2 kids?
I have 3 children.
3. How old are they?
I have a 10-year-old daughter and 2 sons that are 4 and 5.
What kind of work do you do?
I stay at home with my children
And how long have you been staying at home?
since my first son was born.
So for 5 years?
Yep, my first son.
And what had you done before?
Housekeeping, and while I was pregnant with both my sons, I did do beet harvest.
There came a time, sometime, I think, was it last year, that you needed a place to stay.
Yes.
2021.
Yep.
Why?
September 29th of 2020, me and my boyfriend had broken up, so I had stayed in a shelter.
Is your boyfriend the father of either
Yes.
one of these
Yep.
two children?
All my children have the same father. Me and him had broken up at the time, and I left from where we were staying at the time. Our living was West Fargo to the YWCA right away, the homeless shelter. And I was there for like 6 months. And during that time, I had met Carmela, and me and her became friends. And I had introduced her to my brother. And then I moved away for a little while in April, and I came back like the end of May.
Where did you move to?
I went to Texas.
What's in Texas?
A friend.
Where did you meet him?
Here in Fargo when I was 14 years old.
So what brought you to Texas?
That's where he was living, and he told me if I wanted to come live with him there, I could.
You didn't have a job in Texas.
He did.
You?
No, I did not.
And from when to when were you living in Texas?
I left April 15th, and I was there until like...
Of 2021?
Yeah. And then I moved back beginning of June, kind of. And then...
Beginning of June of the same year?
Yes.
So you stayed there for 3 months?
Yeah.
And you moved with your children?
Yep, all 3 of them.
Yep is not an answer.
Yes, all 3 of my children I moved.
Okay, so you took them out of school in April.
My daughter.
Took her out of school in April.
Yep, I did. And
Yep
we,
is not an answer.
yes. And we moved.
You took her out of school in April to go to Texas, to live with a friend that lasted 2 months. The fact is you took your daughter
Yes.
out of school. I'm just trying to figure out who I'm dealing with.
Yes, because I had nowhere to live.
Well, there's a big place, but where do you live, in what state?
Minnesota?
In Minnesota.
Yeah.
Well, there's a big difference between Texas and Minnesota. And also, there's only 2 months between April, when school is still in session, and June, when it's over.
Yes, I know this.
Yeah, you know this. You're aware of this.
Yes.
Okay. I set this up because I really want to find out what I'm dealing with here. Now, I sort of know. In any event, you had no place to go. Your brother contacted you. You contacted him, and he invited you to come and live with him.
Yes, he did. In
All
October.
right. That's what he did. You and your 3 children.
Nope, just me and my 2 boys.
So you were going to live with your brother and his girlfriend with your 2 children.
Yes.
You got there when?
October.
Of 2021.
Yes.
Case is relatively simple. Case involves your claim that they have property that belongs to you. And they have a cross complaint that they probably would not have brought but for the fact that you're suing them. Because I think that they're just happy that you're gone. You moved in with them in October of 2021 and paid no regular
No, I did not.
rent.
The agreement between me and my brother was to buy food for the house and to give him money when I can.
Okay, now
That's
you
what we
weren't
talked about.
working. Now you weren't working, so how are you going to buy food for the house?
I was on assistance through Minnesota, so I got SNAP.
So you got food stamps?
Yes, and then I had child support. Well, I was on child support, but I wasn't getting the money. I didn't start getting money until February of 2022. And that's when I start giving him
Just
money
a second.
every so often.
In October of 2021, you were not getting child support.
No.
You were getting food stamps,
Yes.
which you said you would share with your brother.
Yep, I
who
bought-
lives, not yep is not an answer, who lives with his girlfriend, and how many children?
We have no children.
No children at all.
We have dogs.
That's fine. So you were sharing some of your food stamps with your brother and his
All
girlfriend.
of my food stamps went to the house.
Well, that's where you were living.
Yep. Yes, it was.
Yes, that's where you were living with your
Yes.
2 children.
Yes.
Okay. What kind of work do you do, sir?
I'm currently unemployed.
And what does your girlfriend do?
She works for a cleaning service.
Okay. Now, there came a time that you got a substantial amount of money from the government. What month and year was that?
Just this past April.
How much did you get from the government?
It was taxes.
What kind of taxes? You haven't worked in 5 years.
It was the child tax credit, and I did work when I moved back from
You
Texas.
told me you hadn't worked in 5 years. I want to know what you got money from the federal government for. That's what your brother says, And I was curious, that's why I asked you the questions about working.
It is.
So don't make it up.
It slipped my mind.
What?
I'm sorry.
So that
I
that doesn't
do
slip your
housekeeping.
mind.
I did housekeeping, laundry in a hotel when I moved back from Texas with my mother.
Month. You worked from June 2021 until, we'll find out.
Until like mid-June because I did not have a babysitter for my children.
So you worked for a couple of weeks.
Yes.
How much money did you get from the federal government in April of 2022?
$11,000 from the government for child tax credit.
So you got $11,000, not from working, not that it slipped your mind, because 2 weeks may slip your mind because that's what you worked, if you worked at all. $11,000, you got child care credits. How much did you get for each of your 3 children?
I only filed for 2 of my children.
How much did you get for the 2 boys?
I believe $3,000 for each of them.
That's $6,000. Where's the other 5?
That came to me for the stimulus checks because I did not receive the last stimulus check. They said that my boys did not receive the refund that was coming to them for the stimulus too. So that was all.
So
on
your
tax.
boys got. Let me understand. Let me understand why this country is in such a fiscal morass today. So you got $3,000 for child care credit for each of your children, and the other $5,000 came because you went to an accounting firm, and they said, well, you should have gotten stimulus money for your boys.
Yes.
And you missed that, so we're going to put in for it. So they sent you another 5, or they sent you...
They sent it all together on one.
Okay. All together on one. So that you had plenty of time to go and take care of.
Yes.
Right.
Your judge actually have proof of how much she did get.
Jordan hands a document to Kevin.
Now, when you got this $11,000, that $11,000 was supposed to help get you through COVID.
Yes.
Paying your bills, paying for rent, buying clothes for your children. So you got this money in April of 2022, $11,400. Okay. And then you went on vacation. In what month and year did you go on vacation?
April of 2022.
So the minute you got the money, according to you,
I start looking for a vehicle.
You bought a car?
I started looking for a vehicle.
So you started to look for a car. Now, you've been without a car for a while, but you started looking for a car.
Yep.
And also in April, you asked your friend, your brother's girlfriend, if she would watch your 2 children.
Me and her had a discussion before April.
You didn't go until after you got the money.
Yes.
You knew you were getting the money before April because you were going to apply for it.
Yes.
Yes.
But when I got the thing where it said I was getting the money back, it didn't say that much.
$11,400. So you decided to go on vacation. Where did you go?
I went to Colorado.
Where in Colorado?
Up in the Denver area.
How did you get there?
I was with a friend and they drove.
Male or female friend?
Male.
So you went with a male friend to Colorado for how long?
I was there for a week.
What does this friend do for a living?
I'm not really sure.
You don't know whether this friend works or not?
I met him last year and I kept in contact with him throughout the whole year. And then we just got back in contact beginning of 2022.
And you don't know what he does for a living?
I'm not really sure what he was doing for work.
Caption, coming up.
You have no right to give away any of her property, whether you think somebody deserves it more than she deserves it. That doesn't require an answer. I'm telling you what the rule is.
Carmela smirks. A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Alyssa, Jordan, and Carmela.
Alyssa Bolio claims her brother, Jordan Thompson, and his girlfriend, Carmela Turturelli, owe for the value of her personal belongings.
Okay, so you went away for a week, and according to what I read, you made arrangements with your friend, your brother's girlfriend, to take care of your 2 children, and you agreed to pay her $400 for the week.
Yes.
And then you went away for the week in April. Did you come back after a week?
Yes, I did.
On what date did you return?
The Saturday right before Easter.
Date?
April 19th, Your Honor.
And then what happened?
I came home and I talked...
April 19th?
Yep, I came home on April 19th and I talked to my brother and Carmela. I stayed at the house for a little while because my boys were not there when I got home.
What a little while?
I stayed at the house for maybe 2 hours and got all my stuff into the house, and my boys were not there. So I believe I went to my sister's house and to my mother's house, and I did not know where my boys were.
Just a second. If your two boys weren't in the house,
I had asked them where they were.
you asked them where you were and they told you it was a secret?
No, they asked them where my children were, and they said that they had went with their father.
So you knew where they were?
When I got home, I knew where they were. I didn't know that they had left previous to me arriving
Yeah,
home.
well, you got home from being away with a new friend in Denver, and you said, where are my boys? Duh, where are my boys? They're with their dad. So you went to your sister and mother's house, and then what happened?
And then the next morning, we left to the cities, and
The next morning?
On Easter Sunday.
On Easter Sunday, who's we?
Me and the friend.
What friend?
My friend that I went to Denver with.
So you went where?
Minneapolis.
How far a ride is that?
4-hour drive.
You intend to stay over there?
No. We were going to go visit some of his friends and then come back. But next thing I remember was waking up in the hospital. And I contacted my brother when I did.
You have the hospital records?
No, I do not. I contacted them.
You have, just a second, you have an admission record?
No.
Do you have a bill from them?
No, because I don't get billed.
Of course you get bills. When you leave the hospital, they say either you owe us this amount of money, that's what you get when you're discharged from the hospital. You may not be able to get hospital records, but it would certainly be interesting, madam, for me to know what. The next thing I knew after you were going with your friend to the cities to see some of his friends, you don't know anything until after you wake up in a hospital. Wouldn't you be
As soon as I woke
concerned?
up, I contacted my brother.
What date?
I'm not sure. I don't remember exact dates.
I mean, you have 3 children. What do you mean you don't know what date?
I don't know the exact dates, but I did contact him as soon as I was able to, because I did not have my own phone.
Don't you see how irresponsible this whole story is for a person who has 3 children?
Yes.
How totally irresponsible it is. And what is sad about it is you appear to be an intelligent person who just seems to go from one place to another based upon, well, I used to know him in Texas, I used to know him in Colorado, I used to know him here. I'll leave my 2 boys with Camilla.
And we don't have no children, so we're taking care of her children while she's out running around doing whatever.
I didn't ask you anything. Okay. I can actually visualize the picture, and sadly, so can you. What date did she finally contact you after she disappeared again?
So after a Thursday after Easter Sunday.
The Thursday after Easter Sunday, so that's the
21st of April is the Thursday after Easter this year.
It was actually Monday, the 25th.
We got records.
That's when I came home.
I don't care. I just want to know when you showed up again.
I contacted my brother, and I let him know what had happened. And then he was asking about our father, like I was supposed to go pick up our father.
I don't care. Let's get to the lawsuit. Now that I understand the characters that I'm dealing with, it is your claim that your brother and or his girlfriend took some of your property, didn't give you all your property that you should have had, because they finally said, we've had enough of you and your shenanigans, goodbye.
I did
Good
not
idea.
start leaving the house until that April. I was in the house the whole time with my boys. I've asked them maybe to watch them overnight a couple times, but that's it.
I don't care. They had enough of you. You didn't pay rent. They could say to you, goodbye. We tried to do our best. You took advantage of us. Goodbye. Now, that being said, you stayed with them for how many months and didn't pay them any rent, any utilities? How many months? You and your boys?
4.
4 months.
Because I started paying my brother in February.
Paying him what?
Money. I gave him money.
No, I don't want to know who gave him money. Rent. I know that at your age, maybe you think you're too young. Maybe you're too young. They either rent their house, they have a mortgage on their house, they have things that they have to pay.
We did not agree upon a set amount for every month. We did not agree upon
don't you think you should agree on a certain amount every month? You just came into $11,000.
And it was actually way more than 4 months.
You just came into $11,000. You've been living off somebody else's largesse. You just came into $11,000 that I gave you, or they gave you, but you certainly didn't work for. So you say to at least the person who you're staying with, listen, I'm going to give you a couple of $100s a month just to cover my share of the expenses because you're 2 people and we're 3.
I gave him $400 when I got my taxes. As soon as I got it, I gave him money.
Did you pay Camilla for watching the children?
Yes, I did.
$400?
Yes.
Okay. Did she pay you?
Yes.
She says in her complaint that you sold a computer of hers. She says you felt that she owed you more money because you actually watched the children for a longer period of time than the week that she paid you for when she doesn't remember where she was. Did you sell her computer?
I actually gave it away.
No, I don't believe that.
I did. And it's not
Well, why
her
would you give it
computer.
away? That's just spiteful.
Because it was family, and
What do you mean it was family?
it was family.
I am not your family.
I don't want you to speak. You have no right to give her things away.
It wasn't hers, and I have proof right here.
Whose was it?
Who knows? I guess her friends.
That doesn't matter. It was in her possession.
It was in our possession,
It
actually.
was. She left it with us when she left.
I left it at the house.
No. That you may think is in your possession.
She asked me to sell it for her.
What?
She even asked me to sell it for her.
But it was not
Just
in your
a second.
possession. It was in my room.
Madam,
Yes.
if she asked you to sell it for her, then you don't give it away.
Well,
If she says, sell my computer for me, then you sell it. Then you don't say, I can't sell it, so I'm just going to give it away.
I gave it to one of the kids in the family that I thought could use it way more than her trying to use it to bail out her friend from jail.
That's not.
And she owed me a whole bunch more
Who died
money.
and left you boss?
Well, me in the house, because it was our house.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
You met her in a shelter.
Yes.
How long have you lived in that house that you're currently living in?
August of 2018, to be exact.
Before that, the lease was in my name.
What part of I don't want to hear you? So you moved into his house.
Yes.
Right, so it's not your house.
Well.
It's his house. And since you're not his wife, you're his girlfriend, for now, you have no right to sell or give away any of her property, whether you think somebody deserves it more than she deserves it. That doesn't require an answer. I'm telling you what the rule is.
Oh.
Caption coming up.
You wanted them to sell your TV, jacket, and all of this is so that you can get him out of jail.
Yes.
Oh.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Alyssa, Jordan, and Carmela.
Alyssa Bolio has accused her brother, Jordan Thompson, and his girlfriend, Carmela Turchiarelli, of wrongfully selling her belongings. Jordan and Carmela claim Alyssa gave them permission to remove her property.
Now, you have no right to go into somebody else's bag. If they gave you instructions and you accepted those instructions, please sell my computer for me, which is what you just said. Isn't that what she just said?
It is what she just said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sell my computer for me, and you decided not to sell it, but just to give it to somebody else in the family who could better benefit from it. You got to pay for the computer. Period.
She owed me money.
Period.
I have the evidence.
Just a second.
Okay.
Just a second. That's a different story. Carmela, let me tell you something, sir. You look like a very nice guy. You look like a very nice guy. I would unload her as fast as I could.
Oh.
I'm just telling you.
Wow.
I'm just telling you. Because first she says, I gave it away. Let's understand what she says. First she said, I gave it away. Then she said, she told me to sell it, right?
Yes.
Then she said, I gave it to somebody who I thought could use it better than she was using it. Now, I'm going to ask you, Kevin, to go get the 2 pieces of paper that she wants me to review that she owed her money, and then I'm going to go back and explain to your lovely Carmela, listen to me, sir.
I'm listening.
Who I would think twice about.
Carmela shakes her head. Judy reviews the document.
Well, I don't see anything about a computer here. I see that you wanted them to sell your TV, jacket, and all of this is so that you can get him out of jail.
Yes.
I didn't see anything about the computer. I see the TV, I see a jacket.
Here, it's right here.
Just a second. It's not in the ones you gave me, but I'm glad you gave that to me because I have some indication that she did, in fact, ask you to start selling stuff because this is the same person that you went to the cities with.
Yes, and...
yes, when you forgot where you were and woke up in a hospital.
Yes.
Judy shakes her head.
Okay, found someone who wants that digital graphic computer So can you put it in the living room or by my door? So you were going to sell your digital computer.
Yes.
Was it his computer?
It was, but he had given it to me.
So you wanted to sell it.
Yes.
And you say, I'm not giving it to you until you pay me what you owe me for childcare, because you felt as if she should pay you more money because you watched the children longer than a week.
And there's a couple other reasons.
And whatever, and a pair of shoes. I don't care anything about that. You have a bill for the computer?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to see it.
Alyssa produces a document, then hands it to Kevin. He brings it to Judy, who reviews it.
No, I don't like this, because the date was changed. The date the order was placed was to April 18th, 2022. So this is not a legitimate, it may be a legitimate price, but it says order placed on April 18th, 2022. You want to take a look at that? Because that's phony. Somebody changed that. No, somebody changed it.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Yes.
When did you get it?
I got it in April.
I don't believe this. Take a look.
Judy hands the document to Sarah.
When did he go to jail?
The 25th
Of
April.
what?
Of April.
And you left on vacation with him when?
A week before Easter, so I'm not really sure.
A week before Easter, Sarah. What's the date?
The week before Easter, the previous Sunday would be the 10th, April 10th.
April 10th. And you were away for a week.
Yes.
And then you don't remember where you were?
No, that was the second week.
That was the second week?
Yes. I was in Colorado for the full week, and I came back the day before Easter, and then I left on Easter Day, and then
And when did you get this computer? You see, that's what I'm asking you. When could you possibly have gotten this computer if the bill...
This is dated the 18th.
Of April.
Which I believe they said was the day she came back.
When could you have possibly gotten it from him?
I ordered it for him. I paid for it, and then he gave it to me.
Listen, I suggest you both get your acts together. You get nothing from your brother. Just consider yourself very, very lucky that he took care of you and that he let you come into his house. I would suggest you not do it again, and maybe she'll get smart. She has 3 children. She'd like to raise them together. She should get a job. Find a way of making a living. Figure it out, because you made 3 children. They have a right to a certain amount of stability.
And they all are stable.
That's not stability.
That is
Get
stability.
it together. Oh, well, sometimes you can't get through to people. They're that kind of thick, and that's why we are where we are in this country. Do you understand?
Yes,
Think
sir.
twice. I know you tried to be a good brother.
Yep.
Think twice about doing it again. By the way, does your mother work?
Yes.
And it mentioned something about a father. What kind of work did your father do?
I don't really remember.
He was a logger.
Both your parents work.
Yep.
Good. Evidently, it didn't rub off. Thank you very much. Your case is dismissed, as is your counterclaim.
This court is adjourned.
Outside the courtroom, Alyssa, then Carmela and Jordan.
I'm okay with it.
She was a friend, and I love her children. And really, it wasn't about her. It was about them kids.
He won't talk to me because of her.
You need a job, you need to
Change.
change. Something needs to change with her.
I don't really care.
Hopefully she does figure it out. The kids deserve it. He deserves it. He's a good brother.
Judy and Sarah.
You know, that case takes me back to my family court days. And I only have one observation, other than the fact that I'm what should be society's frustration with this, which is once you have children, you have the responsibility, your sole responsibility is to make sure that your children are taken care of. You have to say, listen, my social life takes a backseat. Everything else takes a backseat. But I have 3 little kids, and they are my priority. So I have to do whatever I can to put my life in order. And she clearly has her priorities all messed up.
I agree. I think I can understand and empathize with those women who are parents who can't provide a stable environment for their children and temporarily leave them with a mother, a father, a family member, while they can provide for a stable environment, go get a job, go try and find constant housing. But it blows my mind. I can't empathize with leaving your children with family to take care of and then not doing anything to put yourself in a position to care for them.
In a better place.
Yeah.
You're right. I don't have to worry.
Title, Judy Justice.
Want justice? Go to judyjustice.tv. Heather Schilling and Hannah Hensley for damages from an assault.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Kevin.
Case 2122, Wheat Shilling Hensley.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Wheat, it is your claim that the defendants assaulted you.
Yes, Your Honor.
And this is what I gather from reading your complaint. On August 10th of this year, your cat was injured. How was your cat injured?
That I don't know. The morning of the August 10th, I had let him outside. When he came back in, he was acting peculiar. I picked him up and noticed that he had 2 long, deep gashes on between his chest and his stomach.
At what time was this?
Approximately 10:45, 10:30.
And the defendants work at the vet where you have taken the cat before.
Not this particular cat. I have 3 cats total, and I had good service from them, so naturally I went back.
They work at a vet where you had taken an animal, maybe not this one, before.
Correct.
So at that time, you put the cat in the car and drove over to where the vet's office is.
Yes.
And during that time, they had a COVID protocol in the vet's office. And the protocol, I assume, correct me if I'm wrong, because I know I've taken my pets to the vet during COVID. You get to the parking lot, you call, they come out, they check in the animal and what's wrong. And then they come out when someone is ready to see the animal. They bring them inside. You do not come into the office. Is that your protocol?
Correct.
Is that your COVID protocol? Well, it was in a couple of vets where I took our dogs. Were you aware of that protocol?
No, Your Honor, not at all.
So tell me, what happened when you got to the vet's office? Is there a parking lot?
There is. There was one other vehicle there. It was pulled up in the front of the door, the very first
The
spot.
papers indicate that there is a chart or a video of the parking lot. Is that correct?
We drew a diagram that they based that on.
Okay. So that would be a fair representation, sir, of the vet clinic, and there are parking spaces in front of it?
I believe so, yes.
Where did you park? Yes, please.
My car, I'm assuming at this point, the main door is approximately over here.
Okay.
There was the vehicle that I was mentioning is parked here, and I was parked here.
Okay, but you were parked right in front.
Yes.
Okay, is that right?
Yes.
Great.
John returns to the plaintiff's table.
Okay, so what happened when you got there?
Well, I walked around the back of the car, got the cat out. He was in the passenger seat in the cat carrier. And I went immediately up to the door, and I don't know the defendants' names, but the younger of the 2, she was already out front with a...
You mean the young lady in the blue sweater?
Yes.
Is that who you're talking about?
Yes,
You're
Your
looking
Honor.
over there. What is your last name?
Hensley.
Miss Hensley.
She was already outside with a customer at
Your
that
Honor,
point.
that was, it wasn't me.
Don't speak. Okay, so you say Miss Hensley was already outside with another patient.
I thought it was Miss Hensley. It could have been another lady that worked there, but it was similar in youth and...
Okay, so somebody came out and was talking to another
They were
patient.
already there, and so they stopped me. I was proceeding up to the door, and I, like I say, I have pictures of the signage that they have. So you can't read the signage until you get right up on top of it.
Okay, so you went to the door, and what happened?
I went to go in, and I was stopped.
By whom?
The lady that was outside.
Okay, and the person who was outside stopped you?
And said that you couldn't go in, so I stopped. I told him that it was an emergency, that my cat was injured.
You told the lady outside?
That was outside, absolutely. Told him that he was injured and that he needed to see somebody immediately, the vet. And they suggested that I needed to call, and I couldn't understand that because I was already there. I said, "Can't you just go inside and let him know that I was here?" That seemed reasonable to me.
What they told you was to get back into your car with the cat and call the...
No.
Or just call?
Just call. So I said,
So she was talking to the person who I assume was a female, because you say Miss Hensley, Miss Hensley or someone resembling her. They were taking care of another patient that was outside.
Yeah, when they stopped me before I got...
And said, stop.
Correct.
Call, right?
Correct.
And you were upset, and you said, well, why can't you just go inside and tell them that I'm here?
Yeah,
Well, because she was with somebody else.
Well, it appeared to me that they were done.
Okay, I don't care what appeared to you.
yes.
She was outside with somebody else. She told you to call. What happened next?
Well, I set the cat down, and I actually sat on the concrete and waited. That person had...
Waited for what?
That person left. As soon as they got done talking with me, they went into the building. So, and I waited about 5 minutes. And then I guess it was Miss Hensley now. She came out and asked me now if I had an appointment, my cat's name. I said no. And I told her, I said no, it was an emergency. And then she told me at that time that there was no vet on duty. And so then that's when I got up. I was upset. I said that I needed to leave. I did use an explicitive.
What did you say?
Well, I said that I needed to get out of there so I could get some help.
Okay.
And then I picked up my cat and the carrier, and I was proceeding to leave.
And?
That's when the other plaintiff,
Ms.
or the other
Schilling
defendant
came
came
out.
out, and she confronted me, and she started into a huge rant about how she wasn't going to stand there and listen to this or whatever.
Were you shouting at Ms. Hensley?
No.
No. She told you that there was no vet on duty.
Right.
And you got up and you said, I'm going to get the whip out of here.
Correct.
That's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
The fact that I had waited 5 minutes, I was, it was upsetting. So then when she
Ms.
came
Schilling
out,
came out and
she started into a huge rant.
what did she say? A rant is a conclusion. What did she say?
Well, she had her voice raised. She was shouting at me.
What did she say?
She said that she wasn't going to stand there and let me say things to this other woman. So then I just looked at her and I told her basically to shut up. So
Is that what you said to her?
I told her to shut up.
Okay, so you again used an expletive.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, there was no reason for
Just
her. Okay.
I'm just asking you what happened.
Yes.
So you told her to shut up.
I did.
And?
That's when she came over. She was probably about 3 foot away, and she stepped right over into me, and she put her body on mine. So she stepped right into me, pushed me back with her body, and she told me, I'm not afraid of you, I'm not intimidated by you. And I told her, don't touch me, get off of me. And I told her twice, and she never moved. I put my cat down, and I moved her off of me.
What do you mean,
I pushed her back off of me.
You put your hands on her.
She was already on me.
How was she on you, sir? What physical part of the defendant?
Her chest, her entire body was leaning on me at that point. She body checked me.
I'd like you to go over there and show me where Miss Schilling came out and where the three of you were standing.
Okay, I have pictures as well.
Okay.
So here being the front door.
Yeah, right.
And here was the box where I was sitting. When I picked up the cat, I moved over to here. When she came out the door, she was approximately here. And then she moved over to me and put her body on mine.
When Miss Hensley came out and told you there was no vet, why didn't you just get into your car?
I was leaving.
Well, when she came out, why didn't you just go into your car?
No, the first lady that I encountered never told me there was no vet.
No. I understand that. When Miss Hensley came out and told you there was no vet, why didn't you just get into your car?
I was leaving. I had picked up my cat and literally was walking away. I had walked from here to approximately here. In that meantime, she came out, and I had my back to her at first, and she started to yell.
No, he wasn't.
Me?
He was yelling in my face.
Just a second. I'm going to let you have a turn as soon as he's finished. Go ahead.
She started to yell at me, and that's when I told her.
Okay, go back.
Thank you.
And then what happened? So now she put her body on you. You put both hands on her and pushed her back.
To push her off me.
And then what happened?
Then she struck me.
How did she strike you?
With her open hand.
Where did she strike you?
On my face.
Okay, when you pushed her, she slapped you.
She did.
And next?
And then the other one slapped me. She reached over her shoulder and slapped me.
Okay, on the face.
On the face.
And then?
And then we started to argue, and it was just yelling back and forth. And then the gentleman came out of the vehicle that was parked in that first spot, and he kind of diffused the engagement. And that's when she told me, just leave. I felt safe enough to turn at that point, and I went and put my cat back in the car. And that's when the lady in the blue ran behind my car, said, don't let him leave, don't let him leave, ran behind my car and placed her body on my car.
And?
And then that's when I told her, I says, you can't detain me here. I'm going to take my cat to someplace where I can get him some medical. And I moved her away from my car.
How did you move her away?
With my hands.
So you...
Open hands.
Okay.
That's when she turned and struck me with her fist, broke my glasses, gave me a black eye. I was defending myself at that point. I had my hands up. I'm all cut up on this. And then that's when I finally grabbed her by her hair and pulled her off of me.
Which one did you grab by the hair?
The brunette.
Hannah fumes. Caption coming up.
What was he saying to you?
Sorry, it's a lot. Reliving it.
He started screaming in my face, and I don't even remember. I'm so sorry. I don't remember exactly what he was saying. It was really scary. That's all I know.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, John, Heather, and Hannah.
John Wheat claims vet assistants Heather Schilling and Hannah Hensley owe for damages after he was assaulted in the parking lot.
Okay, now prior to her going behind your car, you had had no physical interaction with her. With
Other
Miss
than her hitting me.
She slapped you.
Correct.
Okay, got it. Okay, Miss Hensley, you came out at some point. What do you do for the vet?
I am a vet assistant.
And how long have you worked for the vet?
Like a year and a half.
So you've been working for the vet all during COVID?
Yes.
Is this the first incident that you had while you've been working at this vet?
Yes.
How long have you been working at the vet?
10 years now.
Have you ever had another incident like this, either during COVID or before?
Not like this, Your Honor. I've had to call the police before. We've had threats. We've had people shouting. Of course, animals bring out emotions, but never has anything ever been physical.
Did you know Mr. Wheat from prior visits with other cats?
I did not. I do know that we had seen one cat once before, and that actually was during COVID.
During COVID?
Yes.
So you checked, and it was the same COVID protocol?
Yes.
Leaving one?
We've had the same protocol since COVID started.
Okay. So the last time you took a cat there, you were familiar with the COVID protocol. Though, just think about what you're saying to me.
Okay.
The last time you took a cat there was during COVID, so you were familiar with the COVID protocol.
I believe I might have called before I went there.
And you waited in the parking lot. Somebody came out, took the cat inside.
I believe so.
And that's the protocol. And the reason that you didn't do that this time is because you felt as if it was an emergency.
Yeah, I was not aware of any protocol.
Yes, you were.
No.
Oh, yes, of course you were. Of course you were aware of a protocol, sir. The woman outside told you that there was a protocol. She said you have to call first. And she was speaking to somebody out in the parking lot. You know, you've had animals for a long time. When I go to the vet, there usually isn't somebody out in the parking lot. So you know that there's a protocol because you know that somebody else was out there talking to a patient and said to you, you have to call first.
After, yes.
And said to you, you have to call first. Okay, now you want to tell me what happened when you first interacted with him?
Yes, so he was sitting outside, and so I went out and told him that he would have to call to check in, that we were curbside, and he said that he wasn't calling anybody. And I told him that I was very sorry, that was not how we ran things, that he had to call and check in over the phone, and then that we would come out and then bring in his cat. And he said that he wasn't doing that he wanted to see a doctor then. And I was like, we cannot do that. And so then I asked him, did he have an appointment with us? Like, what's the cat's name? I'm not even sure, you know, what we're dealing with here. I need to get an idea of what we're dealing with. And I think he said the names of the cat was Pebbles. I don't even know. I'm not sure. But I asked if we had an appointment. He said no. And then I asked him what was wrong. And he said, the cat's bleeding out. She's dying, or something along the lines of that. Screamed at my face. And so I said, sir, I'm so sorry. You need to go to an emergency clinic. We don't have a vet today. And so then he started screaming in my face, got up, screaming in my face,
Was there a vet there that
No,
day?
we were doing tech appointments that day, so just like nail trims, things like that, things that we can do without doctor.
So there was no vet there?
Yeah, there was no vet.
So you told him you have to go to an emergency room?
Yes.
And when you said there was some shouting, what was he saying to you?
He was basically saying...
No, not basically.
It happened a long time ago, so honestly, I don't remember the exact words.
Okay, so you don't remember exactly what he said to you. He was angry. Okay, he sort of acknowledges that he was angry. Then what happened?
Sorry, it's a lot. Reliving it. I'm sorry. Sorry. He started screaming in my face that we weren't helping and that he would be leaving, but he just was still screaming in my face. And I don't even remember, I'm so sorry. I don't remember exactly what he was saying.
Just take a minute.
It was really scary, that's all I know. And I told him that he needed to leave and he wasn't, and that's when Heather finally came out and told him that he needed to leave. She got in between us and was like, sir, you need to leave now. And she just kept saying, you need to leave now. And he kept screaming in our faces, and she was like, I'm not gonna have you screaming at my girls. That's what he's referring to when she got into his face. She said she did step into his face to push him away because he needed to leave. And she said, you're not gonna be screaming at my girls. He still was being belligerent, not leaving. And at that point, that's when he spit in my face, and that's what caused me to shove him. And then
So
he
when you said, so we'll stop for a second. You came outside because you heard an altercation outside.
Yes.
Tell me what happened when you came outside.
So I did come at them. I stood in between the two of them, and I told him he needed to leave. He needed to leave now. I told him I was not going to have him talking to my girls like that. That wasn't appropriate. He needed to leave. And he was still shouting, and then that's when he spit in my face. And then I did push him away to get back from me, and he stepped forward. I did smack him with an open hand, and then he pushed me. And what he's leaving out is he actually grabbed my scrub top, and he was pulling on my scrub top. And that's why Hannah had stepped back in. She tried to get his arm off, which probably is where the scratches came from, and he grabbed her scrub top at the same time. So there was more contact than...
Where was the cat?
The cat was actually behind me. He had left the cat there.
Sounds like a little bit more, Mr. Wheat, than what you told me in your narrative.
They're lying. First off, she said that when she just admitted to the fact that she told me that I needed to call. And that's what the first thing I said when I came and pulled up, is that the person that I met outside at the very beginning told me that I needed to call.
Yes.
And she just said that she told me I needed to call. There would have been no reason for the second person to come out and tell me that I needed to call. At that point, they came out and told me, asked me if I had an appointment, and I said no, that it was an emergency. And I had my cat the entire time with me until I put him down in order to push her off of me. That's the only time I put my cat down, and he was next to me the whole time. I would not have left my cat between her and me.
Mr. Wheat, these people have been in business for a very long time. Is it just possible, sir, that because of the circumstances, and you were there with a cat who was bleeding out, that you were high energy and maybe not totally composed? I mean, I have two people work here, at least one who's worked for the same vet for 10 years. You've used this vet before. You haven't had problem with this vet before, and she's been there 10 years. And I assume that, at least she tells me, she's never had an incident like this before. So I can actually imagine, you know, I'm trying to put myself here, somebody comes out and says to you, we don't have a vet on duty, which you probably didn't believe at the moment.
No, I did.
Well, if you believed that there was no vet on duty, why didn't you just walk into your car? Why did you say anything to her? Why did you use an expletive? Why was there any need to have any communication at all with her? If there's no vet here, okay, I better get my animal too.
Well, Your Honor, when I first pulled in and I had that conversation with whoever that worked there, and I'll use that term loosely, whoever, they knew what I was there for.
Don't tell me what anybody else knew, sir.
Caption coming up.
You were not told that there was no vet inside by the first person that you encountered.
No, that's wrong.
No, I was absolutely right, sir, in what I said to you. So say yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Right.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, John, Heather, and Hannah.
John Wheat has accused vet assistants Heather Schilling and Hannah Hensley of injuring him after an assault in the parking lot.
Go ahead.
I explained that it was an emergency.
Just a second. The person that you were talking to, you just told me, was dealing with another client who had another animal out in the parking lot.
And I told him that it was an emergency.
Okay. Well, you know, one man's emergency is not. How's the cat?
Now?
Yes.
The cat's fine from that injury, but he's blind now.
Well, fine from that. Did you get the cat to a vet?
I did.
How far away?
20 minutes.
And what did they do to the cat?
Clean and sutured.
And you took him home?
I did.
And you took him the same day?
I did. Yes.
And when you went to the second vet, it was an emergency vet?
It was.
Okay. Did they have a curbside arrangement there? They did not?
No.
Had you called them if
No.
you drove? Well, you mean you drove 20 minutes not knowing if they could get to see a vet?
They're open.
How do you know?
I've been there many times.
Mr. Wheat, do you think that I think that you drove with your cat without calling first to see if they were open and a vet there when they had already told you that their vet wasn't there? Why would I get in the car? I wouldn't at least make a call.
The only other vet that's available right there.
Well, how do you know that that vet was available?
I've never been there where they've not.
Okay. You have any medical records for me to see of your injuries? I'd like to see them.
My injuries?
Yeah.
No.
Well, I'd like to see them.
I have pictures of my injuries.
I'd like to see that. Miss Schilling said that you spit in her face. Is that true?
That's not true, Your Honor. I don't have any lower teeth. When she was in my face yelling at me, and I was yelling back at her, That's when she made that accusation.
It was more than just a little bit of spittle, Your Honor.
It was what?
More than just a little bit of spittle, Your Honor.
He full on spit.
Okay. Do you have a police report?
I do.
I'd like to take a look at it.
John produces a document, then hands it to Kevin. He brings it to Judy, who reviews it.
Okay, so the police report indicates that they were called, I assume they were called by you?
Yes.
Because they responded to their location. And the police officer observed red marks on her neck and her hair falling out of her head.
I do have pictures as well, Your Honor.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I pulled her off of me.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I got all those scratches in my black eye.
I'd like to see the defendant's photographs.
Okay.
Heather hands documents to Kevin, who brings them to Judy. A photo of John with a black eye.
Mr. Wheat, I've read the police report, I've looked at your pictures, and can I see pictures from the defendants?
A photo of Hannah's bruised neck and of a small bald patch on her head.
I do not have a cross complaint. Your answer, Ms. Schilling and Ms. Hensley, both indicate this was a terrible incident and you just wanted to go away.
Yes, Your Honor.
You too. You too.
I did call the police.
You too.
I called the police before they called the
You too. Mr. Wheat, you know, there are certain things that are common sense. And the common sense of it is you were upset, you were aggravated, you were angry, you were not getting what you needed. You were not told that there was no vet inside by the first person that you encountered. So
No,
you
wrong.
Well,
I wasn't told until after the second person came.
I said, no, I was absolutely right, sir, in what I said to you. I said you were not told by the first person that you encountered that there was no vet inside. So say yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. It wasn't until Miss Hensley came outside that she told you that there was no vet inside. That is correct, ma'am.
That is correct.
Right. Now, in between that time, according to you, you sat outside for 5 minutes.
That's correct.
You sat outside for 5 minutes and you did not do what you were instructed to do by the person who was outside taking care of another animal. And they said, you have to call first. You said, you're right here. Why can't you tell them? That's what you just told me. Is that correct?
As soon as I finished with the conversation about them calling, they left me and went inside.
That's okay. You did not call. And you sat there on the cement, according to you, and waited. Then she came outside and told you there's no vet.
That's correct.
Okay. By that time, you were very angry because now you had a cat that was sick. Oh, yes, absolutely. It says so in the police report that that's what you said. You said you were belligerent.
I was.
You were belligerent and you were angry, but the first physical contact that happened was the defendant to you. But you say you were belligerent and you were angry.
Yes.
And you honestly said that to me.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. You didn't act smart. If I had my animal that was bleeding to the vet and they said call, I would have called. And if I didn't call and if I waited outside and somebody came outside and said to me, the vet's not here, all I would have said is, why didn't somebody tell me that before? Because I waited out here for 5 minutes, even though I didn't do what I was told to do, which was to call first and check in. Do you understand? Your case is dismissed. We're done.
This court is adjourned.
John, then Heather and Hannah.
Obviously, I have to stand by what she said.
I think that it was very fair. I think that she saw that he was an angry man who was upset about his cat.
They were the aggressor to me.
As soon as he was screaming and yelling, I think that that was the line.
I was holding up my hand trying to protect myself from her. She hit me, broke my glass, and gave me a black eye.
The sooner that you leave, the sooner you can get your cat treatment.
I was upset at some point, I would have to say. That's true.
Pretty bad. I've been having issues like working with people coming up to the door.
Cat survived.
He is not welcome. The police did place a no trespass, and that was honestly our goal. We just didn't want him to come back.
You know, people get really upset when their pets are injured and they can't get immediate care. It's not quite as acute, probably, as when your child is sick and you take them to the emergency room and there are 500 people in the emergency room, but your child has a sore arm. You don't know if it's broken or not, you know, and you're agitated. He was clearly agitated, agitated and angry. Actually, I sympathized with him. You know, the first person could have said to him, we have no vet. If it's an emergency, go someplace else. Didn't. And then he sat and waited, and as he sat and waited, got angrier and angrier, and then we have no vet, you have to go someplace else. Bottom line, it was all a bad scene, but it was a bad scene precipitated by him.
Yeah, just listening to his story, I could tell the agitation level just as he's waiting and not getting info.
Right.
You could tell, and like you said, sympathize with it.
Unfortunate. I think the defendants actually were interesting that they didn't file a counterclaim.
I also was surprised by
because
that.
they had, one of them, the young woman, had some serious injuries, pulled her hair out, she gets marks on her neck. They just said it was a bad incident, just let it go. Yeah. He should have too.
Title, Judy Justice.
Want justice? Go to judyjustice.tv. Mary Totsekian is suing her former landlord, Kazi Ahmed, for a security deposit, invasion of privacy, and harassment.
Court come to order. All rise.
Judge Judy.
Have a seat, please.
Kevin approaches.
Case number 2047, Totsekian versus Hamad.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You had a house.
Yes.
Where?
In Sun Valley.
When did you purchase the house?
I purchased it 4 years ago.
How much did you pay for it?
We purchased it for $585, I believe.
And you sold that house to Mr. Ahmed, what month and year?
We sold it in, I believe it was January.
Of 2022?
Yes.
And you sold it for how much?
$574,500.
Where did you move to?
I moved to Palmdale.
Did you buy something else?
Yes.
And Mr. Ahmed, you took a mortgage out?
Yes.
How much is your mortgage?
I bought the house February 15, 2022, not January, and I pay for it $710,000.
So you paid $710,000?
Yes.
Not $574,000?
No.
Does that sound right to you?
Yeah, I might not be remembering the exact amount.
Well, that's a big, not exactly. $574,000 to $710,000 is a big difference.
Yeah, it was $710,000.
In one case you lost money. In one case, you made money.
It was $710,000. I apologize.
Okay, so $710,000.
Yes.
Yes, honor.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
How much is your mortgage payment each month?
$5,100.
Okay, and when you sold Mr. Ahmed the house, you didn't have a place to go, according to your complaint, and you asked for a rent back.
I was in escrow.
But you didn't have a place to go, whether you were in escrow or in an igloo in Eskimo, it doesn't mean anything. You didn't have a place to go.
Correct.
So you asked them if you could stay in the house and rent it from them. How many people are there in your family?
My family, it's 3 kids.
So who was living in the house? You,
It was me, my husband, and I have my 2 sons that are with me. My daughter doesn't live with me.
So you asked if you could rent the house back for a few months. He was nice. He said yes. How much rent did he ask for?
He asked for $4,000.
He asked for $4,000?
Yes, for 3 bedrooms, he asked for $4,000.
Your Honor,
He never,
no.
Just a second. He asked for $4,000 even though his mortgage was $5,100?
$4,000. I paid a whole total together with everything with security deposit, and I paid $12,000.
No. That's not what I'm asking with security deposit. That's what we're here for your security deposit.
Yeah.
I'm asking you, how much did he originally ask you?
$4,000 was the...
Okay, well, that was pretty generous of him to ask for $4,000, considering his mortgage was $5,100, and he doesn't know you from a hole in the wall. So that makes him a very nice person to rent it back to you so that he's at a loss every month of $1,100. Do you understand?
Yes, I do understand.
Great. And what you're doing here is you want your deposit back.
Yes, that's correct.
$4,000. And Mr. Ahmed says that not only did he have to spend $4,000 to fix the damage you and your family caused to the house while you were living there for those few months, but he had to spend an additional $6,000. That's what he says. He had to spend an additional $6,000 because the place was destroyed, because you had a disagreement with him over the date that you were going to be receiving your deposit back. That's his claim. So there were a couple of things that were sort of questionable to me.
I have not damaged, though. I have pictures of the house when I left. There was no damage.
That's fine. You're going to show them to me. Okay. The one thing that I found strange, so now I have the facts straight. So you moved into the house in February?
In the house?
Yes.
Yes.
So you rented in February and March?
Yes.
2 months?
We moved out April 6th.
Okay. Now, you told him you were moving out, and he came to the house to do an inspection. And that was before your move-out date. On what date did you meet together for him to go through the house? And let me refresh your recollection. You came to the house, he walked around with you. And at that time, he said these few things need repair. And there was not extensive damage anywhere. And when he got to the house, he rang the bell and he opened the door and you looked through the house.
Yes.
On what date was that? Do you remember?
The day that I gave him my keys to the door.
No, that's not the date you moved out. That's the date that he came there to do a walkthrough with you, your husband, and or children. I don't know who was there. And
Your Honor, he made a lot of walkthroughs.
no, I'm asking the last one that he
The
made.
last one?
Yes.
The last one he did, I don't remember the exact date, but he had like 4 or 5
Do you
walkthroughs.
remember the date? What was the date?
March 23.
And when you went to the house on March 23rd, and they had been living there all of February and most of March. Was the house in pretty good shape on March 23rd? Was it in the same shape on March 23rd when you saw it on April 6th?
Yes, because when I saw the damages of my house, I request her, what is this? I show her.
No, just a second. What did you show her?
About the floor damage, wall damage, and there is...
Oh, well, show me on the pictures that you took on March 23rd.
Okay.
He probably damaged it himself from his construction that he did.
Just a second.
He did construction while I was living there. For the whole 2 months I was there, he did construction.
Okay.
You know what I find problematic in both your complaint and
I would
answer?
like to pass my evidence.
Just a second. I'm going to tell you what I find difficult in both your complaint and his answer. That when you left the house, you took the doorbell with you. When you left the house, you took the doorbell with you. Now, he bought the house. He's paid you for the house. You've got $710,000. On the day the house closed, there is no question in my mind that there was a doorbell. Okay. Do you understand?
Yes.
You have no right to take anything from that house once it's sold. You're a renter.
Your Honor, I believe I do, because on the document it says the only thing that I'm supposed to leave for him is the washer and dryer and stove.
Madam, that's something. Have you never bought property before, or are you just trying to be obtuse? I would never think I bought and sold dozens of homes. Never in one contract. And I'm a lawyer, my husband's a lawyer, grandchildren are lawyers, my children are lawyers. Not in one contract does it ever talk about a doorbell. It is assumed that you leave the doorbell, that you leave the toilets, that
was not a doorbell, it was a Ring camera.
I don't care if it was a Ring camera, I don't care if it was an MGM camera or a universal picture camera. It's not yours. It's part of the property. You have no right to take it. Period. Put your hand down. Sometimes when it doesn't appear that you're losing, you're supposed to be quiet. Do you understand? You have no right to take certain things. Once the house is sold, nothing there belongs to you. Nothing. You're a renter.
That was before the house was...
Just a second. Are you telling me that when you stay there, after the house was sold, for the 2 months that you lived there, are you telling me you lived without a doorbell? Are you telling me that you lived without a doorbell? No, you lived with a doorbell.
It's a Ring. Your Honor, it's a Ring camera.
I don't care what it is.
It was not the doorbell. It's not the doorbell. It's a Ring camera. You can You can take it off and take it to your next property. That's something that I bought.
You bought a lot of things in that house, I'm sure. Did you buy wallpaper? Did you buy flooring? Did you buy carpeting? You can't take it. It doesn't belong to you. It travels with the property. When you say it's a Ring camera, when you ring the doorbell, does that activate the Ring camera?
Yes, it does.
And when you took out the whole Ring camera, did you put in a doorbell?
The doorbell was already there. I never touched the doorbell. That's why I took the camera, the Ring camera, because that belongs to me. I bought that. I didn't touch the doorbell. That's part of the house. That's part of the property. It's in the wall.
Can I see a picture of what she took?
My doorbell is not here. Here is the point.
I did not touch the doorbell. Again, he did a lot of remodeling. He probably did all the damages himself. He's trying to blame it on me.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's
You're not allowed to take it. Period.
I have a lot of evidence.
You're not allowed to take it now. So I'm starting with your case. You want your deposit back.
Yes.
This gets deducted from your deposit. Did you replace this?
Not yet.
Did you get an estimate for its replacement?
Yes, I did.
I'd like to see it.
Okay. And not only doorbell, Your Honor. She took the curtain rods and also all the light bulbs.
Just a second.
Okay. Give me some time.
I don't have time.
Can I please explain what really happened and what I went through with this guy from day one?
No.
He let me
Right
rent?
here.
No.
Because I want to prove my case because he's wrong and he's a crook.
No. Madam, you rented the house.
Yes.
For $4,000 a month.
Yes.
A three-bedroom house.
I paid him
amount. And you paid him the amount, and you stayed there. If there was something wrong with the house, or if you didn't like the fact that he was doing construction there, or he was coming in and out of the house, even though he was renting it to you for $1,100 less than his mortgage payment, okay? You could have moved.
Your Honor, let me just tell you that he promised me from day, he kept texting me over and over, bringing renters to show my side of the place to live. While we were living there, he harassed me every day by text messages and phone calls. Can I show the house? Every single day?
Who cares? I don't care.
But that caused a lot of tension to my family.
I don't care. Move.
Caption coming up.
She intentionally damaged.
Don't tell me what
my
you
car.
intentionally did.
Sure,
These-
this is the damages picture.
I didn't do
Shh. I'm going to dismiss your case. Do you understand? 1, 2, 3. It will be my joy.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Mary and Kazee.
Mary Totsekian claims her former landlord, Kazee Ahmed, refused to return her security deposit and harassed her. Kazee is countersuing for vandalism.
Now, if you didn't like to live in a place where you were being constantly harassed, you and your husband now have a $110,000 profit from selling your house.
I gave him a $10,000 discount on that property. And he
did you understand what I just said to you? Move. Say, listen, it's not working out. You're bringing too many people in and out of the house. It's not working for me. Wait just a second. We'd like to move out before. Did you ever say that to him? The answer is no.
Because I had a lease with him.
Did you ever?
Just
a second.
Yes.
Did you ever say that to him? I would like to give you your property back earlier. We don't need it for 2 months because I don't want to be harassed. We're going to move out into a hotel until our house is ready. But you stayed there.
No, I told them that we can't keep having people come and knock on our door.
Okay.
I made it very
Madam, you're not getting compensated for that. You're a big girl. You made a lot of money on this house. You asked for a deal for him to rent it back to you. He said fine. He's going to tell me that he wanted to have his mortgage covered, and you were not prepared to do that, and you were not prepared to do that.
Your Honor, let me just tell you, the living situation for that 2 months that I was there was hell with him. He caused me all kinds of anxiety. The last day when I was supposed to give him the keys so I can leave, he opened the door and started arguing with me in front of my 11-year-old kid. He made him cry. He caused a lot of trauma to our family.
Your Honor, her son was not there.
He's a monster. He doesn't care about anything else. And then he did remodeling. Now he's trying to get the money out of me to pay for it because he's broke. That's
okay. First of all, this comes off the deposit, and then I want to see the estimate.
Kevin brings documents to Judy.
All I want is my $4,000 security deposit.
Well, I'm not sure you're going to get it.
His rent on time, just like a good renter.
Okay.
But all I wanted was my deposit back. That's it.
On March 23rd of this year, when he came to do an initial walkthrough with you before you were leaving, did you discuss deposit? The answer is yes.
I made
Just a second.
Yes.
The answer is yes.
Yes.
And at that time, did he say to you, this needs fixed, this needs fixed? Did he say anything to you? Nothing. Did he tell you that he had, by law, 21 days to return your deposit?
Yes.
Okay, and what did you say to him?
I said, that's fine, I will wait the 20 days, but
No, just a second.
Yes.
You said it was fine. I'll wait the 20 days.
Yeah, to get my deposit, yes.
Okay. And then what happened?
I have every text that we sent to each other.
I'm not reading every text that you sent to each other. I'm asking you after March 23rd. Go to your March 23rd texts.
I do have here.
He basically said he's
not basically. I said go to your March 23rd and thereafter
I highlight,
text.
Your Honor, for you.
After March 23rd.
Yes.
Go to your, do you have text messages? That's
Yes,
what you
it's all
said. You're
here.
looking at me.
Okay. I have a March 23 here. He led me on in the text messages saying that you help me pay my mortgage, I will help and give you a security
I'm asking you to show me the text messages after March 23rd.
This is the March 23rd.
and thereafter. You pay deposit back when there isn't any damage to the house. You don't use my deposit for anything else. You hold it for damages. Here is the notice. I would like you to meet with you and your husband. Please let me know when you are available. Please don't threaten me with my deposit.
I wasn't.
He was threatening me.
I wasn't.
Just please don't threaten me. You mean threaten me with my deposit. Can you show me where on the contract it says the washer and dryer stays?
That I found, it stays, and we did leave it there.
She tried to take with her that too.
Again, Your Honor, I'm just here for my deposit because I did my responsibilities and paid the rent. I was a good tenant. I kept the house beautifully clean and everything. I deserve my deposit back. That's why I'm here. I don't want to deal with him. I don't want to see him ever again. I just want my deposit.
I know what you want.
That's it.
That's why we're in court. If he felt as if you deserved your deposit, he would have given you.
And if I left the house perfect, he needs to give it to me because I didn't do no damages to that property.
Okay.
He's lying.
Can you show me where the contract says the washer and dryer stays, because I don't see it? I made it very clear to everyone that I paid for it, that it's going with me.
That was before I looked at the document.
Just a second.
Yes.
So that's before you looked at the document?
Yes.
When did you look at the document?
I looked at it, it was at home when I noticed it.
Did you respond to him after the 23rd and say to him, I realize that the washer and dryer stays?
No, because he's been threatening me constantly. Why am I going to respond to him? He's been a monster.
Can you please show me photographs of what the house looked like?
He's been a complete monster,
show me
Your Honor.
Just a second. Show me what the house looked like on April 6th.
This is the pictures I have. This is what it looks like. Perfect little house.
Don't speak. Just show me.
I'm just trying to say that I'm not here for anything empty. I'm here for my deposit.
No, that's not what you're here for, just your deposit, madam. That's not what you filed a claim for. An invasion of privacy and pain and suffering. There's a whole bunch of things that you're suing for. Okay, I see these pictures.
The house is in
just a second.
great shape.
Just a second. And is this your little dog?
Yes, it is. The house is in great shape. He has no complaints.
He's going to show me pictures. I'm going to look at them.
I deserve my deposit back. That's all I know. He wasted my time. He lied to me.
Can I see your photographs of what the house looks like?
Your Honor, this is the picture when I bought the property with good condition.
Okay.
And this is the picture for she intentionally damaged.
Don't tell me what you intentionally did.
Sure, this is the damages picture.
I didn't do that.
I'm going to dismiss your case. Do you understand? 1, 2, 3. It will be my joy. Anybody who takes out a doorbell ring or whatever it is and leaves holes and mollies in the wall, which is exactly what you did, just like the washer and dryer. Okay.
Your Honor, this is the previous.
Don't speak. Okay. Now I'd like to see the photographs that you took April 6th or thereafter. When did you take those photographs? On what day?
I start March 23rd to April 6th.
I'd like to see the photographs.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Kazee hands photos to Kevin, who brings them to Judy. She reviews them.
You know, some of this damage, sir, that were in the door hinges, that's not damage that they did. That's not damage that I can ascribe to them. There are some holes in the walls. I know you're showing me this. That you have to deal with.
Caption, coming up.
I sold my property to him as is. I did have tenants there. I'll tell you right now.
No, I want to know what rent the tenant was paying you. That's a number, not a story.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Mary and Kazee.
Mary Totsekian accuses her former landlord, Kazee Ahmed, of keeping her security deposit and harassing her. Kazee claims Mary vandalized his house before she left.
Okay, I don't know what this is that you're showing me in this picture.
Because there is a water leak from there. So the water goes in the cabinet inside.
Okay.
Okay.
I assume that you have some sort of insurance because they didn't do this damage.
Okay.
They didn't do this damage when they were there. I would like, sir, to see some of the pictures before and after. This is moldy and it's dirty. So they didn't clean the bathtub. Where are you living now, sir?
With my mom.
And who's living in the house?
I rent it out.
What's the name of the people that you rented the house to?
It's Walter.
When did you rent it? On what date?
I don't remember exact date.
Well, you remember. You remember everything else. You remember April 6th. You remember March 23rd. Now remember what day they came.
Okay. June.
So actually the house was, just a second. So actually the house was unrented for about a month and a half.
Right. Because
Shh, not a because. Now, how much did you rent the house for to Walter?
$4,000.
Could you explain to me why you're renting it to somebody for less than what you pay in your mortgage?
Sure. So here is the American dream, because I came here 2013 and I started live with my mom. So me and my wife working so hard to buy the house. We save every penny day by day, and we saw a lot of house last couple years.
I'm not, listen, don't tell me your life story. I want to know why you're renting the house for less than your mortgage payment.
Because, no, the people is very nice, and they said they're going to increase the rent January. They give me $5,000. That's why.
Do you have a lease with them?
I do.
You have a lease with them. And
Yes.
does the lease indicate that the rent is being raised in January?
Yes.
What?
That whole thing that he said that his place was not rented for a month, that's a lie, because he was renting the place out while I was living there. So he had renters all in the backside.
Just a second, you mean they were living with you?
They were living in that back house. That house is split with a wall, so there's empty rooms in the back. So he was literally renting it out, boom, boom, like right away.
Just a second.
While I was there.
Is what you're telling me that there are two sources of income from that house?
Yes.
Okay, that's interesting. Mr. Ahmed.
Yes.
Listen to me carefully.
Sure.
How many tenants do you have in that house?
3.
Shh.
Oh.
Look at me.
Sure.
How many tenants? You have Walter,
Yes.
and he pays you $4,000.
Yes.
You have another tenant.
Yes.
Okay, and the other tenant is in the back.
Yes.
And what does the other tenant pay you?
Okay, the one.
No, that's a figure.
Oh,
what does
okay.
the other tenant pay you? Don't look up there. You know exactly how much?
$3,000.
$3,000. So you cover your mortgage, and you make a little money.
Yes.
Now, while she was living there, pay attention.
Yes.
While she was living there, were you renting the back?
Yes.
Yes. And how much were you getting?
Okay.
That's a number.
Okay.
Before you answer the question, think. How much were you getting from the people in the back?
Same.
Same what?
Because that's not my.
But just a second. What do you mean the same? The same as what?
The people used to live there long time with her. That's her tenant, not mine. She just transferred to me.
I see. So you had a tenant living in the back.
Yes.
You had a tenant living in the
Your
back.
Honor.
And what was the rent that you were charging your tenant?
I sold my property to him as is. I did have tenants there. Yes, I did. And one of the tenants, I'll tell you right now.
No, I want to know what rent the tenant was paying you.
That's what I'm saying.
Just give me that's a number, not a story.
1,000, and I would say 2,000 altogether.
Sounds to me as if everybody did very well. You have to pay for the doorbell. Now I want a receipt for the doorbell. The rest of the pictures are nonsense. And you had no loss of income. Just a second. I want the estimate for the doorbell. That's what I want. That's going to be deducted from the. Put your hand down. Otherwise, you're gone. Do you understand? Doorbell.
$84.
$84.
Yes, something like that.
Do the math for me. I think it's $3,900, whatever. $4,000 less 84.
$39.16.
$39.16. Sir, I've looked at your photographs, and I don't see any damage that you can ascribe to the plaintiff that I think mitigates in your favor, other than the doorbell, which I actually find outrageous.
Right, Your Honor.
And you had no loss of income. So clearly what you did was purchase this house, and you make an income from this house every month.
After I pay my mortgage, and there is a service, like expenses, and also there is a like utilities bill is so expensive now.
I don't care. $39.16. Judgment for the plaintiff. Your counterclaims dismissed. We are finished with this case. Goodbye.
This court is adjourned.
Outside the courtroom, Mary then Kazee.
I deserve my security deposit back. I did very well with paying the rent, and I feel like this was fair.
I'm not happy about it because I'm the buyer and I bought the house. There is a lot of damages after she moved out.
He was pretty much texting and having renters come and knock on my door every day without even giving me a notice ahead of time.
I was always giving to her 2-3 days notice to go in the property.
It was not easy, but you know, we moved on to something better, so.
Still living in the American dream.
Judy and Sarah.
You know, this case is sort of an example of you read a complaint and you read an answer, and you sort of have a predetermination of what the case might look like and how that shifts. Because when I originally saw these people, I said, you know, she took the doorbell and the ring thing with her. why. And there was with the washer and dryer. She said, I'm taking it. But it was in the contract that it stayed. But then when I got to know both of these people, Sarah, they were both a little bit of hustlers. Nobody told me up front that there was a back apartment that they rented. And I said, why was this guy being such a good guy?
Yeah. And he didn't say, well, actually, I'm not
Well,
that great of a guy. I rent the backside and cover my expenses.
I rent the back for $3,000
Yeah.
and it all covers his expenses. They actually, both of them, deserved each other a little bit. He didn't deserve another $6,000 in addition to the $4,000 because I didn't see that much in damage. I mean, you looked at some of the
I
pictures.
saw some of the photos, and it looked like
holes, you know, from pictures in the wall.
But not like what he was describing in his answer, like punched holes in the wall and ripped up flooring. We didn't see any of that.
There was nothing. Anyway, she made a lot of money.
He's doing just fine.
And he's doing just fine.
Title, Judy Justice.
Are you a victim of a scam? Go to ex-boyfriend, James Stewart, for travel costs and a loan.
Court come to order. All rise.
Judge Judy.
Have a seat, please.
Kevin approaches the bench.
Hello, Judge. Case 2102, Peterson versus Stewart.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Judy turns to Joy.
Miss Peterson, you and Mr. Stewart met online?
Yes.
You met Mr. Stewart, and according to your complaint, a romance developed, and there were two things that you believe, now that the romance is over, that he owes you. One of them is a loan that you made to him for $1,000. Now, Mr. Stewart does not deny that you gave him $1,000, correct?
No, ma'am.
Your defense is that it was a gift
Correct.
and not made as a loan. Okay. On what date did you and Miss Peterson start to date?
We never dated. We actually wasn't through no dating site. Just somehow, coincidence, we came through.
Did you see her?
I met her once in person.
When?
When she paid for a hotel for my birthday.
Give me the date.
January 30th.
Of this year?
Yes, ma'am.
So you met for the first time in January of 2022. Tell me about the $1,000. If you're playing with your papers, you're not going to hear where we're going. Okay.
The $1,000 at that time, I was been struggling with heart disease, which I just got out the hospital for having a heart surgery last Friday. So financially, my dealership was a little bit under the burden. So I asked her if she would help me.
And when did you ask her? Was that in January?
No, ma'am. That's a couple months later.
All right, so that would be in March.
Yeah.
And the only time that you ever met her was in January.
I met her once, other than that, when she gave me the money. Other than that, it was just normally her texting me, how you doing? Do you want to meet up?
Okay. So you met personally twice.
Correct.
And after January, you didn't see each other personally, just by messages. And that's when you asked her for money. And you were going to tell me why in March you asked her for money. I understand that you just recently came out of the hospital, and while I'm happy to see you looking well and healthy, it's really irrelevant to this case.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so why did you ask her for $1,000?
Because she offered to help me.
No. Nobody offers to help you unless they know that you need help.
Well, it's in writing.
No. Nobody offers to help you unless you let them know that you need help.
I was kind of life coaching her. We both was going back and forth. We had an open line of communication, so I kind of got comfortable to ask. So I see what you're saying.
Got comfortable to ask?
She already gave me money before that $1,000. That's why I was comfortable.
Just a second. I'm talking about the loan. I want you to tell me, since you acknowledge that she gave you the money, tell me why you needed it.
Well, I needed it because I paid for the trip, which was $2,180, which she gave me $2,000 plus $160 more for luggage. Came to just shy of $2,400.
I don't understand what you're talking about.
Well, she's already came to me and gave me money for us to take this little trip together.
What does that have to do with this $1,000? That's not what I'm talking about.
Because she was supposed to come and reimburse some of the money because I paid already into the trip. So I was asking her for money.
Am I crazy? Did he start to talk about his business needing money? He has a used car business.
Yes.
Really, before you come on a program like this, you should really watch so that you would know that one of my favorite sayings is, if you tell the truth, you don't have to have a good memory, especially if you're smart. Now, if you're not so smart, and within 3 minutes you tell two different stories, that, Mr. Stewart, is a phrase that you should learn to live by. If you tell the truth, you don't need a good memory.
That's not correct, Your Honor.
Well, that's only because you wouldn't know the truth, because you have been introduced to the truth.
He says The $1,000 at that time, I was struggling with heart disease, which I just got out of the hospital for having a heart surgery last Friday. So actually, my dealership is a little bit under the burden, so I asked her if she would help me.
So you remember saying that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so that's different from she was paying me back. You just have to acknowledge that's different. Okay, and let me tell you what you swore to in your answer. She offered to help me catch up on my child support.
On a phone conversation, yes.
I just asked you one simple question, sir. You acknowledged she gave you $1,000. What was it for? So now I have 3 reasons. 1, your car dealership was a little bit of a burden. 2, she was returning your money to you. And 3, you were catching up on your child support. Those are the 3 things that I have in front of me.
Yes, ma'am.
Is it door number 1, door number 2, or door number 3?
Whichever one you would like, ma'am.
So far it's $1,000 for the plaintiff. Now, whether it was for school or whether it was for your children's support, she's not responsible for your children's support. You're responsible for your children's support. Have you ever met his children?
No.
She doesn't even know your children.
No.
Do you have a child support order?
No. She asked me to marry her.
Just
though.
a sec. I asked you a question,
Yes,
not
ma'am.
her. Do you have children? The answer is
Yes. I have children. Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Caption coming up.
This is not a dance.
No, I'm just
This is
saying.
not a dance.
Yes, ma'am.
You lead, I lead, I always lead.
Yes, ma'am.
Later.
You had some trouble with your finances, and you had serious debt. What kind of work do you do?
I'm a credit collections agent.
Not a good thing when you're a credit collections agent.
A woman grins. A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Joy and James.
Joy Peterson claims her ex-boyfriend, James Stewart, owes for travel costs and a loan.
Now, the children do not live with you.
They're above age. Yes, ma'am.
When you swore in your answer that you had gotten behind in your child support order, what child support order was that?
It's the last child because I got behind because I was out of work. So they're above age, but I owe a little arrears.
Okay, so that's the child support that you were behind. Had you been noticed to come to court on those arrears?
I've never been in contempt, no, ma'am. I've always kept a good standings with them.
Okay, but you're behind now.
Yes, ma'am.
You were behind then in March.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and you knew you were behind because?
I was on bed rest for 5 months due to a knee surgery and some heart issues.
Okay, did you request that your child support order that was on arrears only be stayed while you weren't working?
I got a new caseworker who wasn't willing to work with me at that time. So.
Okay, so there was difficulty. Your caseworker was involved in this child support order. That sounds better. And the child support order was in favor of the state?
I don't owe the state no money. I paid all fees off with them. I just owe the back child support.
To the mother of the children?
Yes.
Okay, $1,000. Now, I'm going to come to you. According to you, you gave the defendant $2,000 to buy travel tickets for you.
Yes, Your Honor.
When?
I gave him money in March.
At the same time that you gave him the $1,000?
No, ma'am. That was in April.
Show me proof of that. And I want to see $2,000 taken out from someplace for him to pay for these tickets. And they were tickets for you to go from where you live, which is where?
Springfield, Ohio.
To Miami.
Yes, ma'am.
The $2,000 was in March. What were you going to do in March?
In March, I gave him the $2,000 to purchase tickets because I asked him, can you get discounts for us to go to Miami because I was going to have surgery. So he told me yes. Sure, so I gave him the $2,000 for that.
That's not.
Then he said, well, that's going to be more than that. I said, well, that's all I have for the tickets for me and my daughters. He said he wanted to go, so he was planning on going.
Mr. Stewart.
Yes, ma'am.
On what date did she give you the $2,000 to buy the tickets?
It was early March. She could.
Yeah, March, looks like March 25th. She gave you $2,000. And when were you supposed to go to Miami?
We were supposed to go July 4th, and she.
Okay, just a sec. You're supposed to go in July. So you're talking about 4 months later.
Yeah, she canceled the trip.
Okay. When did she cancel the trip?
She canceled the trip about a month later.
So she canceled the trip in April?
Yeah, and it was a third party, so it's non-refundable.
I don't know that at all.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, just a second. So you're going to have to show me.
I didn't borrow it.
You borrowed the $1,000. I didn't say you borrowed this $2,000. She gave you money for a specific purpose.
Right, she wanted.
Don't speak. She gave you money for a specific purpose to purchase airline tickets.
For us?
Which I don't give a rat's behind for who. She gave you money to purchase.
As I did.
Airline tickets.
As I did.
This is not a dance.
No, I'm just
This
saying
is
I
not,
did.
you lead, I lead, you. I always lead.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely.
I always lead.
Yes, ma'am.
She gave you $2,000 to buy tickets that you acknowledge. The trip was canceled 3 months before the trip. Now, you say they were non-refundable tickets.
Yes, ma'am.
Show me. I just want to see where you tried to get either a refund or a credit 3 months. And I don't speak. You have to show me, because you just said the tickets were non-refundable tickets, and I could neither get money back for them when she canceled it or a credit. And I said, in all that paperwork, show me.
It's just public knowledge on their website. I apologize, I do not have it.
It's not public knowledge on any website. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $3,000. $1,000 loan, $2,000 for the tickets. We're finished here. Thank you very much.
Well,
out.
This court is adjourned.
Out.
She wanted to go on a vacation.
Taking advantage of me.
She was being a little aggressive.
Don't even look that way.
Now, hopefully, we can just move on with our lives.
Sarah.
I think we should print that on cards to hand out to people as they leave here. If you tell the truth, you don't have to have a good memory.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
That defendant, in the first 15 seconds, told 3 different stories about the same $1,000. Reminded me of a toddler when you ask if they had cookies and it's all over their mouth and they say, no, I didn't have chocolate, I didn't have candy. 15 seconds, 3 different stories. So if you tell the truth,
you don't need a good memory.
Not at all.
Case 2158, Smith versus Crosley. All parties, please step forward.
Justin Smith is suing his ex-girlfriend, Jessica Crosley, for an unpaid loan.
Miss Crosley, I'm going to start with you. You and Mr. Smith were in a romantic relationship for a period of time.
Yes.
From when to when?
I want to say it was about a year before my son was born. My son was born February 11th, 2019, and our relationship ended about 4 or 5 months after he was born.
And after you separated, according to what I read, you sort of remained friends.
Yes.
Great. You had some trouble with your finances, and you had serious debt. What kind of work do you do?
I'm a credit collections agent.
Not a good thing when you're a credit collections agent. And this was after you had already been separated for a long period of time. And at some point, what I'm piecing together is you discussed your financial circumstances with Mr. Smith.
Yes.
And one of your options was to seek protection in bankruptcy.
Correct.
And Mr. Smith thought that that was a bad idea.
Yes.
So he suggested that you take out a loan, consolidate all this debt, which was on, I assume, on credit cards with very high interest. And since he had credit, he would take out the loan and you would pay that loan off, which was manageable every month. Is that generally what this is about?
Yeah.
Yes.
Caption, coming up.
His behavior had started getting irrational, scary, started calling me a lot, asking my whereabouts, texting me, driving by my house on several occasions I saw.
I'm still not understanding why you stopped paying on the loan.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Justin and Jessica.
Justin Smith claims his ex-girlfriend, Jessica Crosley, owes for an unpaid loan.
Mr. Smith did take out that loan, month and year.
March of 2022, this year.
What were the payments each month, starting in March or April, principal and interest?
He had told me that it was $500.
Told you they were $500. He took out that loan, and am I correct, Ms. Crosley, that you paid off your credit card debt?
Yes.
And you paid off your debt with the loan that he took out?
Yes.
And you did, in fact, create a situation where the money, because you were employed, would come out directly from your bank account to go to pay off the loan to his bank account.
Yes.
And you did that in what month?
That was started, I believe, at the end of April or beginning of May.
And how many such payments did you make?
Biweekly payments, I believe I made about 6.
Thereby acknowledging that this was a loan. At some point, you stopped making the payments. What month did you stop making the payments?
In July of this year.
Why?
So I had started seeing my current boyfriend.
This is not a social show. Just tell me why.
So I had to take a day off of work to file for an order of protection.
Why did you have to take a day off from work to file for an order of protection?
Because I was advised to by a police officer I spoke to.
Okay, and I assume against him?
Yes.
Okay, give me the incident.
Okay, so in July, when I started seeing my current boyfriend, Justin had expressed that he wanted us to get back together, and I had told him no, that was not going to happen. And then his behavior had started getting irrational, scary, started calling me a lot, asking my whereabouts, texting me, driving by my house on several occasions I saw. And then there was an incident on July 19th where I had allowed his mother to take my son to a play, and she was supposed to drop him off back to me. And instead of dropping him back off to me, she had dropped him off with his father at his work. And then I got a call from Justin yelling, saying, "Where are you? What are you doing right now?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm on my way back home. Your mom's supposed to drop off Braden." He's like, "I have Braden. I'll meet you at your house." So I said, okay. We got to outside my house, and then he pulled up next to me and then started screaming out of the car, like, "Where were you? What were you doing?" I was like, "I was spending time with Anthony, my boyfriend." And he's like, "I'm taking Braden. I'm not going to give him back to you." And my son's crying in the back seat. And I said, "No, you give him back to me. It is my day to have him." And he drove away. He later called me and said I could meet them at Dairy Queen. So I met them there. I got out of the car. I went up to my son. And as I was getting him in the car, Justin had walked up to my car and started yelling and swearing at me. And as me and my son started driving off, he threw a milkshake at my car, which scared me and my son very much.
Okay, good. And you filed for an order of protection. You had a trial on the order of protection, yes. And the judge dismissed your order of protection.
Yes.
After the trial.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I'm still not understanding why you stopped paying on the loan.
So when I had lost my job.
You lost your job when?
The next day. The incident happened on the 19th. I had to take the 20th off to file for the order of protection. The 21st, I was let go.
Oh, that had nothing to do with you being let go. Nothing. I just want to know why you stopped paying on the loan. You stopped paying on the loan because you lost your job? Are you working now?
Yes, I just started working.
Well, did you start paying him back?
No. So
why?
Also in July, when all these incidents happened, Justin had stopped paying for daycare, which was our agreed upon child support payment. We don't have a court order for child support, but he had been paying all of daycare. I cover all of his other finances.
So that was an agreement that you had, that he would pay for daycare?
Yes.
Okay. And he stopped paying in July?
Yes. He started only paying half of daycare.
Okay, so let's go back. He started paying for half?
Yes.
How much was he supposed to pay per month?
$560 was the full amount of daycare each month.
Okay, and he had been paying that. In July, he cut it down to?
To $270, I believe.
80.
80.
Okay, so he wasn't completely not paying. He was paying part of it.
Correct.
Tell me why you cut the payments in half, because you have a counterclaim for that.
Yeah. So in July, we started a custody case for full custody of our son.
You're talking in July. Who started the custody case?
I did, Your Honor.
Okay. Did you retain a lawyer?
I did.
Is that case still ongoing?
It is.
Well, then I'm not entertaining anything about the daycare because you have that case in family court. The court there will make a determination as far as future child support and whether or not this daycare should have been paid. So you have no reason for not paying the loan.
I was planning on filing bankruptcy.
Okay, but you didn't. You didn't file for bankruptcy. You did the smart thing. How much is left on the loan?
It's in excess of $12,000 or $11,000.
What interest rate is on that loan, by the way?
36%, I believe. Current balance as of November 30th, $12,631.
How is a 30% loan better than her credit cards?
She had some loans in excess of 800%.
From whom?
Or over 500%. These were online lenders.
Oh, wow. Okay, you have a counterclaim. Harassment, daycare costs is out. Lost wages because you say you had to take a day off to file a protective order and you were fired? Nonsense. Harassment, let's hear it. And don't go back to anything that you told the judge during the hearing that you had where he dismissed your application for an order of protection.
Okay, well, that order of protection.
Okay,
that was.
They're just shh. Well, if that's the testimony, it's already been adjudicated. A judge, using the same measure of proof that I would use, dismissed your case, so I'm not relitigating that case. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $10,000. Thank you.
This court is adjourned.
I believe he was angry that I started a relationship with somebody.
I think the restraining order was part of her defense as to why she didn't want to pay me back anymore.
I was ready to file bankruptcy, and he had offered to take it out for me.
You know, at the end of the day, the loan is still agreed upon and still needs to be repaid.
Sarah.
I think that that's a good lesson, that you can't use the court systems and restraining orders to get out of a loan that you have really no excuse for not paying, except for you lost your job. And I just think it's tricky. I think that a lot of defendants come in here and think that they can just say, I didn't have the money and so I don't have to pay it, but that's not the case.
What's most interesting to me is these 800% or 500% or 100% interest-bearing loans.
I know, it's something.
Where did that come from?
It's something I've seen recently in the past couple of years. It seems like every online shopping venue now has some form of loan payment or loan offering or sign up for our loan program. And I'd never seen that before. And if you don't read the fine print, you could get stuck in, just like the defendant here, with a lot of those high interest loans.
Yeah.
Title, Judy Justice.
Want justice? Go to judyjustice.tv. Ned Hernandez is suing her neighbors, Pamela Jackson and Ashley Jackson, for filing false CPS reports and defamation of character.
So the first 2 times that you called Child Protective Services, I think that they were iffy. And I believe, you know, if you see something, say something, but this comes from a different place. All right.
A police officer.
Don't speak. I don't care what a police officer said to you, actually. I really don't care. You say that she called Child Protective Services in April.
April 7th.
Well, just a second. So Child Protective Services responded to a call on April 7th. And what was the gravamen of that call? Somebody was complaining that what? Do you know?
Yeah, she told
Not she. Somebody was complaining.
Somebody was saying that I had a knife, a child, and that I was kicking her car. The same thing she told the police officer the first time. Then whenever she came inside of my house, CPS worker.
Just a second. She says she did not call Child Protective Services in April. That's what she says. So now you're going to show me proof that she called Child Protective Services in April. She acknowledges she called 3 times, all after August, either August, September, or thereafter. So show me proof that she called in April.
Lynette produces a cell phone, then hands it to Kevin.
Just tell her to press play.
He brings it to Judy.
Just press play at the bottom.
Sarah activates an audio file on the phone.
All these in Galveston knew how to take care of their men, they wouldn't be paying her to take care of them. She's very proud of this. She's proud of she doesn't care that her kids are there. I've seen signs of things that have happened. You know what? There was one incident, and yes, it did get reported to CPS. Yes, there's a video out there. Now I'm going to have to go find the video where one of the guys that comes out giving her money, the daughter is sitting there kind of grabbing herself money, almost like something happened. So it's almost like Lynette actually pimped out her own daughter. What kind of mother is going to A, have do her prostitution in front of her kids, and B, allow them around her daughter?
How did you get this audio?
She posted that on TikTok. And the first time that they came, April 7th, CPS, they told me that those were the allegations that were made.
Clearly, that's your voice.
It's
clearly, just a second.
That was after.
Clearly, that's your voice.
That's my voice, but I'm not the one that called. I learned about the allegations. She called the police.
Clearly, that's your voice. And those are pretty serious allegations, because you're not only accusing her of committing a crime in front of her children, you say in this audio, which is on TikTok, is that where it is?
See if there's
people are so crazy, that she is using her daughter, who is 7. That's what you say on here. That's pretty vicious.
At the time,
just a second. That's pretty.
Your Honor, she's claiming that I'm a prostitute.
Just a second. Does it sound as if right now, I told you, I don't care if you have to parallel park.
There's another TikTok to why that one was posted that would clear more information.
Just, I don't care if you have something that would clear more information, madam.
She accused me of being arrested for calling CPS when I wasn't. And that particular CPS called somebody else. She called the police after that.
Did you? Hey, did you post this on a just a sec?
I got fired for.
That's your voice. Mm-hmm. And I don't care if you're having a private conversation with somebody, if you're saying to somebody privately, this is what I think is going on there, this is what I think. You posted this on a public platform, accusing her, not only accusing her, but saying that you saw her home being used for prostitution and her using her child for prostitution. That's what you say. Hey, that's what you say in here. And it was posted because that's the only way you get it.
Views, unlike hers, that had over 4 million.
Just a second. I'm telling you that is egregious. That is egregious. Now, I have a question for you. Have you ever been arrested?
No, ma'am.
I didn't ask you for anything. Have you ever been, careful, have you ever been arrested?
No, ma'am.
If you haven't been arrested, you couldn't have been convicted of a crime. You have 2 children. How old are they?
7 and 8.
Who do you work for?
I'm a home health caregiver for a company.
You work full-time?
Part-time, because I was a student.
Where?
In Galveston College.
Is that a brick-and-mortar school?
It's a community college.
But it's a brick-and-mortar school. It's not online.
No, it's public.
When I say it's a brick-and-mortar, it's a building rather than something in the cloud.
Yeah.
Okay. Outrageous. That's outrageous.
Lynette wipes a tear from her eye. Caption, coming up.
She ended up taking my can and going like this.
Pamela makes a ramming motion.
Literally shoved it into me 4 times.
I don't see her going like this into you 4 times. I don't see that.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Lynette, Pamela, and Ashley.
Lynette Hernandez claims her neighbor, Pamela Jackson, defamed her on social media. Pamela says she called CPS on Lynette after she witnessed abuse.
Okay, when's the 3rd time you called?
The 3rd time, she was outside with her child. Her child threw a ball at her. She took the ball and with full force, she took it and threw it at his face. She also threw it at his groin. Then when he was upset and crying, she looked at him and told him, "You've been hit harder than that in soccer."
Okay, did you have a video
we have
of
a
that?
recording.
I'd like to see it. Which one is your phone? The happy face or this face?
Kevin hands a phone to Ashley, who hands it back to him.
Here's the one where you can see him being hit in the groin. And then there's another one too.
Kevin brings the phone to Sarah, who hands it to Judy.
Thank you.
Footage of Lynette playing with a beach ball with 2 children.
I'm not sure what this is showing.
Well, she's playing ball with her 2 children out in the front. It's looks like a big beach ball.
Oh, that.
And then she throws the ball in it, but it's in a light-spirited, in a very light-spirited way. These are not angry.
The other one's not.
These are, oh, I got it.
Just a mother playing with her children.
CPS closed all of these cases after they came out and interviewed you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
It was ruled out because they didn't find anything.
Okay, now I'm going to hear one thing from you, only one thing, and that's your counterclaim, because I don't care about police, I don't care calling the police. You're all entitled to do that. CPS is a whole different thing.
If I could add something, please?
Not unless it's on video, because what you showed me so far.
I got document for this one.
What?
We've got documentation on this one.
On what?
In retaliation, she called CPS on my daughter who doesn't have kids.
Who cares? Then your daughter's not at risk if she has no children. CPS responded based upon at least 3 times, maybe 4, but at least 3 times. And so far, nothing that I've seen, other than the fact that you were annoyed, would require or suggest child abuse or neglect. So I'm telling you, that's trouble for you. All I want to hear now is you claim she assaulted you. That's your counterclaim. I don't want to hear about anything else. You claim she assaulted you.
Well, we have two parts to that.
Just
We
a
also
second.
have defamation.
All I care about, you have to understand, I find that what you and or your daughter did by calling Child Protective Services vindictive and vile. And it took people who should be out there really looking to take care of children who are really abused and or neglected, took their time to come out, do an investigation, all because of vindictiveness. Because I saw nothing. If I were trying a neglect
I have
case,
video of
hey,
a cop telling me to call
just a
CPS.
second. Just a second. I don't care. You have shown me the basis that you used to call Child Protective Services. You took the video of it. And I'm telling you, that was my business for a quarter of a century. I would never make a finding of neglect based upon anything that you had here. Anything. So now, follow directions. You know, I told you, I'm an equal opportunity abuser. I told her she's got to learn how to parallel park and not tell people where to park on the street. All I'm interested from you is tell me about this assault that you allege occurred.
The night of the assault, and we have video of it.
I just
get that ready.
date, just a second. Date.
November 27th, this past year, 2022. It was in the evening. I was outside changing my cameras, and she came home and took my trash can because she had put hers in front of my car that day, or the day before, and the cops even, because at first she—
No. Don't go off on a tangent.
Okay, so she took my trash can, put it in the middle of the road. She likes to try to get me tickets, so I went to go move it. She kept pulling it and moving it back out there. So finally I went to go grab her can to move it over. Well, she ended up taking my can and going like this.
Pamela makes a ramming motion.
Literally shoved it into me 4 times. I ended up with scratches and bruises.
Okay.
I've got a back strain and
I'm going to see.
arthritis.
I'm going to see.
I've got
the
medical record.
Just a second. I'm going to see the video of that and the police report.
Can you pull that video? I don't have my phone.
Your Honor, I have a video of the whole incident.
Is this ours?
Yes.
My phone.
Pull up that video.
Kevin hands Ashley her phone.
We have it on the monitor if you want to see it.
Oh, yeah.
Footage of Lynette and Pamela. Subtitles.
I'm about to move it. Stupid.
Lynette moves a garbage can, then returns to a vehicle. Pamela moves the garbage can in front of Lynette's car. Subtitles.
Let me park my car. Let me park my car. You can keep it up there. I'm parallel parked. What are you going to do?
Unintelligible.
I don't give a... Let me park my car.
Unintelligible.
You're gonna make her do it. It's all about. Why you...
Unintelligible.
You want me to hit you?
Unintelligible.
I don't see any.
Your Honor, I have a video of the whole
Just a second. I don't see anything there.
Those are just clips.
Just shh. I don't see anything there. Miss Jackson, I see 2 ladies fighting over the trash cans. I don't see her assaulting you.
It was the trash can she got me with.
I don't see it. I don't see her going like this into you 4 times. I don't see that. I don't see it. Now I'll look at a police report. That's your video. Do you see her shoving a trash can into 4 times?
You can see that they come together with both trash cans, but not much more.
Stupid. People acting stupid.
Kevin hands a document to Judy, who reviews it.
Nonsense. Stupid.
Your Honor, I have the video of the whole incident of how it first started.
I'd like to see
Because she
it.
made a... Where's my pink phone?
I gave them all
Pink phone.
every angle of it.
Because she...
That's
Pink phone.
She lied.
Don't speak. I'm not...
She made another false accusation saying that I was the one who put it in the middle of the street. I came, and she was the one who came first and started putting it in the middle of the street. And I'm going to find the video for you.
Yeah, you know, I really don't care. Listen to me, Miss Hernandez.
Yes, ma'am.
Take your phone. I really don't care.
Okay.
I look there and I don't see an assault.
Okay.
I don't see an assault, and that's really all I was interested in.
Caption coming up.
You showed me your best evidence. You said I have it all recorded. Why I called Child Protective Services.
Because there's clips. I couldn't- didn't get a
this is
chance
not
to
a
tell you what
because.
led up to that.
This is not a because.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Lynette, Pamela, and Ashley.
Defendant Pamela Jackson is accusing her neighbor, Lynette Hernandez, of abusing her children. Lynette claims Pamela posted damaging content on her social media.
Okay, Miss Jackson, when we started out this case, I said to Miss Hernandez, in effect, don't be a big baby. You have to park your car, learn to parallel park, and you can't tell somebody else that they can't park in front of their house. And you were absolutely right. Right? Mm-hmm. You owe her $5,000. I'm entering a judgment in her behalf of $5,000 for your erroneous call to Child Protective Services. That's my judgment. Don't do it again. Don't take. I'm speaking. I'm speaking. Hey, listen to me. Listen to me. I'm speaking. You showed me your best evidence. You said I have it all recorded. Why I called Child Protective Services. You showed me. There was nothing there in the videos you showed me.
Because they're clips.
This is not a because. This is not a because. This is not a because. I also find what you posted on TikTok abhorrent.
What she posted was worse. And it's viral. You didn't even give me a chance to present
Just a second. The only thing that I am hearing are the calls to Child Protective Services and your assault. I didn't see the assault, but I saw Child Protective Services. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000. Your counterclaim's dismissed. We're finished.
This court is adjourned.
Outside the courtroom, Pamela and Ashley, then Lynette.
I overheard a lot more than what was, and saw a lot more than what was being shown.
I got justice because you shouldn't waste resources, you know, on something, an accusation's sick and false like that.
I wouldn't have all these cameras if she wasn't constantly harassing me, calling the police on me.
Everybody gets along except for her. She's the problem.
She wants to become TikTok famous. When she realized her videos of defamation against my mother was getting a big hit, she was like, okay, I'm gonna keep this on.
I'm not trying. It just happened.
We've tried to ignore her. She's the one that keeps doing it.
There's been things that she's done, and it's just all out of pettiness.
Wait for the police to finally arrest her.
Thank you, Judy Justice.
Judy and Sarah.
So I have two comments.
Okay.
Because we've had lots of cases with regard to parking spaces, parking in the street, and that sort of stuff. And how neighbors start off wrong, usually because of something. This was a car thing. But you have to be sensitive to the limited resources of people who are supposed to protect children. And if you keep calling them over nonsense because it really emanated from a parking space, you touched my car, it's parked too close, that's not a tool.
Yeah.
That's not a tool. And we have to fortify that statement that it's not a tool to call a governmental agency that has limited resources because somebody's bumping into your car.
Yeah.
And there are ramifications of posting that sort of stuff without any modicum of proof.
Mm-hmm.
It's just because you're making up this
I was pretty
fantasy in your head.
outraged listening to that as well, hearing, like you had said, I could speak to a friend or a family member at home and say, I've seen some weird things about my neighbor, I'm not sure if something weird is going on there, but those were concrete, seemingly factual statements that she was making about her neighbor that were inaccurate and, like you said, had no basis.
If true, she belongs in jail,
yeah.
Which is not true.
No.
In my judgment, just the limited contact that I had. They both behaved badly. I was talking about this Gen, whatever it is.
Oh, us Gen Z. You realize that's my generation as well.
Yeah, yes, it is. So,
go easy on us. Remember who raised us.
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
And probably part of it was us. But I heard a really funny story. We were talking about this entitlement, you know, young people in entitlement. And one of my friends said, I went into a store, you know, where they usually have one shoe out, and if you want the other one, you have to ask a sales associate to please get you the other shoe to prevent people from walking out with two shoes. So he went over to the sales associate. The place was relatively empty. He said to the sales associate, could I get the mate of this shoe? And this kid, who was about 25, 28 years old, you know, looked like a schlump. His response to him was, why me? Why me? Why did you ask me? There are 4 other sales associates here who could get you the other shoe. Why did you? Bizarre. Yeah. I'm praying for some sort of a miracle for this generation, some sort of an awakening. Anyway.
There's some good ones in the generation that might
There are
just
some
save
great
us.
ones.
So.
Just a minute. There are great ones. There are great ones. But this is a very unfortunate thing because neither one of these two people are moving.
Title, Judy Justice.
Are you a victim of an assault? Go to judyjustice.tv.
সবাই মিলা ধরে ক্লিয়ার করে দাও
আমি 200 লাগাইছি তোর ভাই
এই ভাই এত চিল্লান কে ধরে দাও ওই সামনে 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 দেও আমি উপরে আছে জান দেখবেন না
54 মারছে মারো
ওই ভাই তোমরা কাস্টম খেলবা হ্যালো না ভাই আমরা নতুন প্লেয়ার ভাই খেলতে পারি না কাস্টম অনেক নতুন ভাই
আপনি কাস্টমের কথা বলছেন ভাই আমরা তো জীবনে খেলতেছি না
খেলি না ভাই কাস্টম আমরা অনেক নতুন ভাই বুঝেছেন না কথাবার্তা
একবারে নতুন